Shuangzi by Thomas Merton. Preface by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. A tribute to Thomas Merton, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I have been moved a great deal today at this memorial, a recollection of the life of Thomas Merton, and I'm very happy that we have done this. From the point of view of a religious practitioner, and in particular as a monastic, Thomas Merton really is someone we can look up to. From one point of view, he had the complete qualities of hearing, which means study, contemplating, thinking of the teachings, and of meditation. He also had the qualities of being learned, disciplined, and having a good heart. He not only was able to practice himself, but his perspective was very, very broad. Thus it seems to me that in this memorial, or recollection of him, we should seek to be following his example that he gave to us. In this way, even though the chapter of his life is over, what he was hoping to do and seeking to do can remain forever. Not only is his wonderful model being followed in this monastery, but it seems to me that if all of us followed this model, it would become very widespread and would be a very great benefit to the world. As for myself, I always consider myself as one of his Buddhist brothers. So, as a close friend, or as his brother, I always remember him, and I always admire his activity. The tavern. Whoever brought me here will have to take me home. On the tavern. In the tavern are many wines, the wine of delight in color, and form and taste, the wine of the intellect's agility, a fine port of stories, and the cabernet of soul singing. Being human means entering this place, where entrancing varieties of desire are served. The grapeskin of ego breaks and a pouring begins. Fermentation is one of the oldest symbols for human transformation. When grapes combine their juice and are closed up together for a time in a dark place, the results are spectacular. This is what lets two drunks meet so that they don't know who is who. Pronouns no longer apply in the tavern's mud world of excited confusion and half-articulated wantings. But after some time in the tavern, a point comes, a memory of elsewhere, longing for the source, and the drunks must set off from the tavern and begin the return. The Quran says, "We are all returning." The tavern is a kind of glorious hell that human beings enjoy and suffer, and push off from in their search for truth. The tavern is a dangerous region where sometimes disguises are necessary, but never hide your heart, Rumi urges. Keep open there, a breaking apart, and crying out into the street begins in the tavern, and the human soul turns to find its way home. It's 4 a.m. Nasruddin leaves the tavern and walks the town aimlessly. A policeman stops him. "Why are you out wandering the streets in the middle of the night?" "Sir," replies Nasruddin, "if I knew the answer to that question, I would have been home hours ago." Who says words with my mouth? All day I think about it, then at night I say it. Where did I come from? And what am I supposed to be doing? I have no idea. My soul is from elsewhere, I'm sure of that, and I intend to end up there. This drunkenness began in some other tavern. When I get back around to that place, I'll be completely sober. Meanwhile, Lao Tzu's Tao teaching. The way that becomes a way is not the immortal way. The name that becomes a name is not the immortal name. No name is the maiden of heaven and earth. Name is the mother of all things. I always remember him, and I always admire his demands of unforeseen situations. True philosophy also appealed to Tao, as did Chuangzi. In fact, all Chinese philosophy and culture tend to be Taoist, in a broad sense, since the idea of Tao is, in one form or another, central to traditional Chinese thinking. Confucius could speak of my Tao. 3 in the morning. When we wear out our minds, stubbornly clinging to one partial view of things, refusing to see a deeper agreement between this and its complementary opposite, we have what is called 3 in the morning. What is this 3 in the morning? A monkey trainer went to his monkeys and told them, as regards your chestnuts, you are going to have 3 measures in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. At this they all became angry. So he said, all right, in that case I will give you 4 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. This time they were satisfied. The 2 arrangements were the same in that the number of chestnuts did not change, but in one case the animals were displeased, and in the other they were satisfied. The keeper had been willing to change his personal arrangement in order to meet objective conditions. He lost nothing by it. The truly wise man, considering both sides of the question without partiality, sees them both in the light of Tao. This is called following 2 courses at once. Cutting up an ox. Prince, when his cook was cutting up an ox, out went a hand, down went a shoulder. He planted a foot, he pressed with a knee. The ox fell apart with a whisper. The bright cleaver murmured like a gentle wind. Rhythm, timing, like a sacred dance, like the mulberry grove, like ancient harmonies. Good work, the prince exclaimed. Your method is faultless. Method, said the cook, laying aside his cleaver. What I follow is Tao, beyond all methods. When I first began to cut up oxen, I would see before me the whole ox all in one mass. After 3 years, I no longer saw this mass. I saw the distinctions. But now, I see nothing with the eye. My whole being apprehends. My senses are idle. The spirit, free to work without plan, follows its own instinct, guided by natural line. By the secret opening, the hidden space, my cleaver finds its own way. I cut through no joint, chop no bone. A good cook needs a new chopper. Once a year he cuts. A poor cook needs a new one every month he hacks. I have used this same cleaver 19 years. It has cut up 1,000 oxen. Its edge is as keen as if newly sharpened. There are spaces in the joints. The blade is thin and keen. When this thinness finds that space, there is all the room you need. It goes like a breeze. Hence, I have this cleaver 19 years, as if newly sharpened. True, there are sometimes tough joints. I feel them coming. I slow down. I watch closely. Hold back, barely move the blade, and whump. The part falls away, landing like a clod of earth. Then I withdraw the blade. I stand still and let the joy of the work sink in. I clean the blade, put it away. Prince Wan Hu said, "This is it. My cook has shown me how I ought to live my own life." The man with one foot and the marsh pheasant. Kong Wen Sin saw a maimed official whose left foot had been cut off, a penalty in the political game. "What kind of man," he cried, "is this one-footed oddity? How did he get that way? Shall we say man did this, or heaven?" "Heaven," he said. "This comes from heaven, not from man. When heaven gave this man life, it willed he should stand out from others and sent him into politics to get himself distinguished. See, one foot. This man is different. The little marsh pheasant must hop 10 times to get a bite of grain. She must run 100 steps before she takes a sip of water. Yet she does not ask to be kept in a hen run, though she might have all she desired set before her. She would rather run and seek her own little living uncaged." The fasting of the heart. Yan Hu, the favorite disciple of Confucius, came to take leave of his master. "Where are you going?" asked Confucius. "I am going to Wei." "And for what?" "I have heard that the Prince of Wei is a lusty, full-blooded fellow. and is entirely self-willed. He takes no care of his people and refuses to see any fault in himself. He pays no attention to the fact that his subjects are dying right and left. Corpses lie all over the country like hay in a field. People are desperate, but I have heard you, master, say that one should leave the state that is well governed and go to that which is in disorder. At the door of the physician there are plenty of sick people. I want to take this opportunity to put into practice what I have learned from you and see if I can bring about some improvement in conditions there. Alas, said Confucius, you do not realize what you are doing. You will bring disaster upon yourself. Tao has no need of your eagerness, and you will only waste your energy in your misguided efforts. Wasting your energy, you will become confused and then anxious. Once anxious, you will no longer be able to help yourself. The sages of old first sought Tao in themselves, then looked to see if there was anything in others that corresponded with Tao as they knew it. But if you do not have Tao yourself, what business have you spending your time in vain efforts to bring corrupt politicians into the right path? However, I suppose you must have some basis for your hope of success. How do you propose to go about it? Yan He replied, I intend to present myself as a humble, disinterested man, seeking only to do what is right and nothing else. A completely simple and honest approach. Will this win his confidence? Certainly not, Confucius replied. This man is convinced that he alone is right. He may pretend outwardly to take an interest in an objective standard of justice, but do not be deceived by his expression. He is not accustomed to being opposed by anyone. His way is to reassure himself that he is right by trampling on other people. If he does this with mediocre men, he will all the more certainly do it to one who presents a threat. By claiming to be a man of high qualities, he will cling stubbornly to his own way. He may pretend to be interested in your talk about what is objectively right, but interiorly he will not hear you, and there will be no change whatsoever. You will get nowhere with this. Yan He then said, very well. Instead of directly opposing him, I will maintain my own standards of interiorly. Outwardly, I will appear to yield. I will appeal to the authority of tradition and basically, I suppose, prayer should be as simple as breathing, as simple as living, as simple as just anything. But when we make a great issue out of prayer, that's one reason why I don't like to talk about prayer much, is as soon as you make an issue out of it, it tends to become confusing, it tends to get distorted. It becomes a cause, the great cause of prayer, and then it becomes opposed to something else, which is not prayer. And then you get into this great prayer is something sacred, and then you have other things which are secular, and you have to keep them apart, and that's a confusion. Because breathing is neither sacred nor secular, you just breathe. So prayer, too, should be neither sacred nor secular. I don't regard prayer as a specifically sacred activity. It's life. It is our life. It comes from the very ground of our life. I think it becomes a sacred activity when it gets to be quite public and formal and so forth, but, well, anyway, we should not divide prayer against the rest of our life. And we should not make prayer a cause for which we're willing to fight and have crusades, so to speak. You know, T.S. Eliot in Murder in the Cathedral, the temptation of Thomas à Becket was to fear that his cause of serving the church became a temptation, and the
vocation to martyrdom could include in it a temptation, for he said those who serve the greater causes can make the cause serve them. So the danger is that our religious life, our prayer, our apostolate, things like that, become causes which we make to serve ourselves. They are great causes, and then we use them perhaps out of a spirit of self-glorification. Anyway, let's start with the basic proposition that we belong to God, and we want to belong to God, and we want to affirm our belonging to God. We want to live in a consciousness that we belong to Him. And that is
You could only
great thing in
convict
our life, is
you.
this awareness of our identity as children of God. That He is our Father, and we live in this constant relationship with Him. With Him from whom we come, to whom we return, to whom we belong. And we belong to Him most completely in prayer. And prayer should be the activity, therefore, in which we are most ourselves. Now, right away, we see that
What time
when
do you
prayer
think? I
is
still don't
not
have much
what
of
it
this.
should be, it becomes the activity when we're
We'll just rest.
not ourselves. When we're least ourselves.
Just rest.
If we're not praying as we should, we are most artificial in prayer.
I'm
And we
afraid
feel
he's
that when
not.
we are praying, we are phony in a certain sense. We're pretending. And of course, this is something we should at times feel, because as soon as prayer becomes too much of a project, we do tend to pretend. We pretend that we're praying rather than praying. We discover some kind of a role, some part to play. We find out some particular kind of prayer that we think that we ought to furnish to God, and we put ourselves in that role and try to act the part of somebody praying in that particular way. Well, then it's right away artificial. And that is one of the great curses of the life of prayer, is that when it becomes a role, one learns how to play the part of a nun praying. I am Sister so-and-so, and I am praying. Or worse still, the role of having a certain degree of prayer, which is all nonsense. See, I put myself in that role, and I play that. It gets to be very artificial. Well, this brings up the question of the understanding of ourselves, which is a big question today. When people are, rightly or wrongly, whether you like it or not, we tend to be constantly questioning our understanding of ourselves and who we are and our vocation, and whether we should stay or leave, or whether we should consider ourselves this way or that way, whether we should look at ourselves from this or that point of view. We have a great variety of choices of identity offered to us today. And we tend to waver around. Which one are we going to be? Am I going to be that bright, broad-minded sister who is so wide open to everything, or am I going to be that bright, shiny, bushy-tailed being that is rushing around wildly saving everybody, or am I going to be that sharp, charming, and very much alive and alert young wife, and all these things? Well, we got all these roles, and we don't know which one we're supposed to be in, you see. Well, if you don't know what role you're supposed to be in, you're having a hard time. It isn't a question of a role, it's a question of a vocation. Vocation is not a role, it's not a part we play. It is a response to a personal call. God speaks and we answer. And He doesn't give us a role. The function of being a child of God is not a part that we play, it's not a role. When a baby is born, he doesn't start playing the role of baby. He doesn't know he's got a role to play. He hasn't. But that is a big problem. You see, we are obsessed with this idea of understanding of ourselves, and it's unavoidably that we are so. But then we get that mixed up with prayer. We start trying to understand ourselves in prayer. Prayer becomes a time devoted to self-understanding, evaluation of ourself. How are we doing? Well, that's what it should not be. And unavoidably it gets to be that to some extent, but we have to try to avoid that, because it's wasteful, frustrating, and it's not what we want to do. It's not what prayer is for. On the contrary, prayer should help us to abandon ourselves, to be not occupied with ourselves, and to attain to a kind of wholeness, a kind of all-round acceptance acceptance, which I would say is a very important fruit of prayer, an all-round acceptance of ourselves, acceptance of the world as it is, acceptance of our religious life as it is, not as it may someday be, or hope it will be something, but we still have to accept it as it is if we're going to make it what it is going to be. And we really have to accept other people. And prayer is the great way of getting ourselves opened up to this attitude of acceptance and availability, and not lamenting our lot so much, just being in it, being with it, being all there, and being ourselves. But at the same time, we do have to recognize the fallenness and ambiguity of our state, the fallenness and ambiguity of our love. The natural material of our prayer is our love, our capacity to love, our human heart. And it's most important that our human heart as a whole should function in prayer. Therefore, in some of the ancient monastic traditions, the first thing about prayer is the ability to find one's heart, to seek and find one's own heart, one's true voice to speak to God with and to listen to God with, a true center. And not to be ambiguous about this. The fallen state that we are in is that we are ambiguous about our own heart. To be in a fallen state is to be in a state where one's heart is double, self-contradictory. And even though we're baptized, and even though we are nourished with the bread of life, we maintain this state of ambiguity in spite of ourselves, at least psychologically. We can't get out of it altogether. We have to be saints before we are through with that, and even the saints aren't through with it. So we have to also accept this fallenness and ambiguity of our love and of our heart. We come to prayer with ambiguous hearts, and we have in ourselves the same doubts as other people to some extent. And then they dance, they play drums and dance and so forth and so forth. That's another story, we talked about that before. But the basic thing is this awakening of the heart. And one of them says, he comes unheralded, but he comes to none but an awakened heart. See? Therefore you can't make God come to you, but he will come if your heart is awakened.
I don't like wasting food, but I also don't love eating the same thing multiple times.
People are upset over how this man reacted, but it's... Hey, I'm paying strangers to roast the shit out of me.
Welcome to Being in the Way with Alan Watts, and I'm your host, Mark Watts. And today and in the following weeks, together we're going to take a deep dive into 400 hours of spoken recordings by my father, the late Alan Watts. We're also going to learn a little bit of history behind how these recordings were made. And in future episodes, we'll meet some of the people being influenced by his works today. We're going to see how his words are resonating with current events and how they're changing our outlook as we emerge from a deep sleep as a culture. This podcast was made possible with the help of the Longhouse Foundation and the Be Here Now Network.
50 years!
Our theme music is by Zakir Hussain and his friends from the track Balinese Fantasy, courtesy of Moment Records. Here for our first session, we have a special guest from the Ramdas Foundation, Rondell Marcus, who's joining us in the studios for the inaugural episode of Being in the Way. Rondell, thank you for coming by. The first time we met and talked was on your podcast, and this is actually the first time we got to be together in person.
When this cop pulled these bikers over, I don't have anything funny to say for this video.
We are looking at the beginning of a great adventure here with
Raising
deep dive
Cane's or
into the
Chick-fil-A.
Alamance
The biggest
archives,
question is,
a
what's
collection of
better?
over 400
I'm not going to tell you my
recordings.
opinion because I think they
We're
are
gonna
very
start off with
close.
sundown as
But
for
I
which
made a
this
Chick-fil-A
podcast
burrito
is
a couple
named,
weeks
Being
ago,
in
and
the
then I
Way.
made a Cane's burrito
And,
today.
Great
They were both
name.
excellent. I would say Chick-fil-A sauce is still better.
They would say in front.
Raising Cane's.
Yeah, that title, when I recorded the seminar at the Esplin Institute, and I first wrote it on the box, it alerted me to the double meaning of my father's autobiography in my own way.
This guy is
Because,
a
of course,
genius,
he
but
always
almost
talked
everybody
about
wonders how he
how
keeps
the ego
failing every
can
single
get in
time.
the
His
way
name is
of
Joel
what you're
Jericho, a
doing.
professional
And,
potter, and
so
recently he has gone viral on social media. Lots of people were confused, and one of them even
And as we
commented,
were
when will he
talking
learn
about
his lesson?
earlier,
Well, you
my
might think it's
father
because
would
of poor
have liked
equipment
these
like his desk, but that's not the case. Actually, he does this to get lots of views. This guy is a genius, but almost everybody wonders how he keeps failing every single time. His name is Joel
actually a
Jericho.
very early advocate of
Instant Japanese meals you can't find in your country.
we
Start
need
up
to
with
stop
canned
rolling
bread that
around
has a
in
little
these
butter
big rocket
taste, but
ships
it's so
and take
fresh.
advantage of the
Next is
tools
the
at hand.
KFC hot
And
potato
while
chips that
the
doesn't
last
taste
year
even
and a half
close
has
to their
been,
chicken, but it's still
really
good.
hard
And
by
you
the
definitely
ways.
can't find
I think
aquawater
the one
jelly in your
positive
country
thing that has
because
come
even
out
in
of these
Japan it's hard to find one, but it's
tried
super
different
refreshing.
technologies for
Instant
working
Japanese
and
meal.
getting together. And we did a course correction, and this wasn't the way we wanted to get it. But stopping driving 90% of the cars around and letting nature take a foothold again in many areas has been a positive development.
Absolutely. This man represents Ramdas, a wholesale return to knowing oneself in a way that just left that, as a result, this pandemic is a representation of nature going, wait a minute, stop. You gotta stop. And gotta go inside because we had no other choice. We were all sitting alone in our homes or with our loved ones. And then, of course, as you just said, this is the communication process just took an abrupt turnaround 360. And it was for the best. Because the best of both worlds. It allowed us to communicate in ways that we hadn't been communicating before. And it also allowed us to return to the idea that we have to go inside and connect with that place that's behind us. Both Alan and Ramdas used to say, ego, terrible master, but great, great servant. And to be able to go behind all of that. So, as you say, this last year change has been so beneficial in so many ways and so horrible. It's like the 100,000 beautiful visions of 100,000 horrible visions.
Exactly. And even though this is a very painful way to get to a new way of doing things, I think that as we go forward and we're able to look at the use of technology from a positive perspective, because my father would say, I think in his meditation talks, that it was a good tool but a poor master. And the same applies to technology. These are great tools. They're just terrible masters. And I think we were in a period where, to an increasing extent, technology was becoming the master of what we were doing. And we saw it in the tech boom, but more
The social media thing is really continuing and has been very destructive in many different ways. And yet at the same time, the exact opposite is true.
I think the tendency was more. We were talking earlier about Ram Dass and his book that came out in
Yeah,
1971.
Be Here Now,
The Be Here Now book.
This is now the 50th anniversary of it in 2021, here where we are right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in the same year, my father did a recording up on Mount Tamalpais. It was supposed to be the pilot program for a show on PBS. It was called A Conversation with Myself. He referred to it as Man in Nature because that was the theme of he was addressing. And he had just been to what he...
I just sending girls money, basically.
Yeah, we know.
Wait, I
So you have a
hate
sugar daddy fetish?
I hate to interrupt,
No, I
but
don't.
Danny, I am Andy Warhol. Please take that out of your profile. Thank you. Sorry for interrupting.
Described as a planetary alarm conference in Los Angeles, where a lot of people were saying,
Okay,
Alan,
excellent.
what should we do? We've got to jump into action. We've got to.
Quick, run! Valerie's here. She's got a gun.
You scum.
Wait, why is it not?
Ah, Valerie's got a gun.
It's not letting me.
Is anyone here not familiar with Valerie Solanas?
Everybody.
Danny, take Lieb's photo out of your PTR, please. That's racist, bigoted, and it's identity theft, Danny. Thank you.
Okay, is this Lieb?
Yep, that's Lieb. Why are you using Lieb's photo in your PTR, Danny?
Lieb, is this you? I just saw it on Facebook.
Actually, I thought it was Eddie Murphy. I thought he was coming out with a new movie called The Black Hasid.
I thought that this was who Ish had a picture up at. I thought it was this guy that Ish had.
Nope, Danny. What you're doing is racist and bigoted as usual, and that's why you don't have a moderator badge ever.
Could you Google Black Rabbi and see the first guy that comes up? I think it was who Ish had as a picture, right? Because one time
Stop
Black Rabbi was in
deflecting.
the room.
Stop deflecting.
And Black Rabbi
Stop
tried to talk to
deflecting.
Ish.
Stop
Tried to talk to
deflecting.
Ish about
Stop
it.
deflecting. And stop bringing up Ish.
Why don't you have
Lieb
a
is
mod?
here.
The
Lieb.
only room you
Lieb
ever
is
have
here.
a mod in is your room that has an audience of capacity of 6. That's the biggest room I've ever seen.
Don't get upset about a green mod, insult, Danny. Jeez, like, don't take it so, just because you don't have a green.
I'm upset. They had a green mod in the room and they took it away. They took it away from me. I forgot what I said. I was asking a question about some sale of weapons or something, and then they took my mod away.
Well, enjoy the Christmas spirit.
Well, anyways, Lieb left. I think we forgot to include Lieb in the conversation.
Thank you, Luke.
No worries.
It's so typical of Danny.
Thank you. It's Christmas, and you're so giving. Danny, can you maybe talk a little less loud?
Yeah,
It's
Danny.
really loud.
Again, Danny, I'm Andy Warhol, so please take that out of your profile. Thank you very much.
So this I am Andy Warhol thing I've been saying for about 20 years
like
now.
the period preceding the pandemic, we were doing so much.
I actually had a jacket that
And
said
as
it
he
that
pointed
I
out back then in
handmade myself in high
1971,
school.
it's hard for us to accept this. It's really rough news for our pride, but there's really nothing we can do. And the problem is we have been doing too much. It's our activity that is actually causing so much of the problems. And so the question becomes, how do you let natural homeostasis take over and recover all by itself? And of course, that was something that we were able to see in practice as bears began to roam suburban communities, and a lot of changes. The night sky was suddenly much more visible.
Ooh, the marquee is here. Oh, marquee is here. The king has arrived.
From that perspective.
So we get a glimpse. We got a glimpse in the last year and change. Wow, maybe there is a direction that we can go in. And you're talking about a direction, meaning a way for us to change.
Yes.
And understand that is so absolutely necessary. And then you're bringing in the Tao and your father's work around that as the first talks that are going to be featured. That's just absolutely perfect. And
yeah, I think the philosophy of the Tao, or the Way, as it is in Chinese, was uniquely elegant, very simple, and it's based on everything having its own path or course, the Tao of things. And it originated as a form of folk wisdom, or what we might describe as kitchen table wisdom. And in early rural culture in China,
it was observed that there were better and worse approaches to things, or let's just say ones that were more effective. And these are typically described as splitting wood with the grain, or even putting up a sail instead of rowing. There was a lot of ingenuity in the way that these practices were explained to people. And so finally, after probably many generations of existing as an oral tradition, these were codified theoretically as a manual for the rulers, who at that time during the Warring States period were not doing much of a job of it, creating wars, not taking care of the population. Sounds familiar?
Yeah, it sounds so, yeah. And it's all about me.
Right.
The individual, and it's what we're dealing with right now, especially in our country with this polarization of there's a certain segment of people that been a natural sort of the American heritage of individualism, and I think that's part of what we're dealing with, which is why what you're representing here with your father's work is so important, and getting back into the idea of interconnectivity, balance. The Tao is all about that, getting to know ourselves a little bit better. So this is just a beautiful combination now that we have the two of them on this network. So, I'm really happy.
Well, I'm very thankful. This is, for us, it's a major effort to pull these materials out of the archive and restore the old machines. And so we're going to delight in sharing both these newly discovered works and also some of the classics, some of the things that have been lighting up the internet in recent years. And we're going to begin with a seminar that was recorded at the Esalen Institute, Taoist Way of Dropping Out from Karma. And in this second session, you'll hear him talking about the Indian idea of karma and how it relates to our participation in the world. And then after a couple of weeks of that, we're going to go on to Being in the Way, another Taoism seminar. This one deals uniquely with the individual and the role of the individual in a way that I don't often hear him do. It's a little bit more hands-on. So that's in 3 weeks from now, and enjoy the show. We start today with Taoist Way of Dropping Out from Karma.
The philosophy of the Tao is one of the two great principal components of Chinese thought. There are, of course, quite a number of forms of Chinese philosophy, but there are two great currents which have thoroughly molded the culture of China, and they are Taoism and Confucianism. And they play a curious game with each other. Confucius said the goody-goodies are the thieves of virtue, meaning that to try to be wholly righteous is to go beyond humanity, to try to be something that isn't human. So this gives Confucian approach to life and justice and all those sort of things. To life and justice and all those sort of things, a kind of queer humor. A sort of boys will be boys attitude.
Do you like having that, right?
Which is nevertheless a
Wait,
very
what?
Yes, I do like having that.
mature way.
No, I just couldn't
Of
believe that
handling
my
human
boobs are so
problems.
big that I couldn't see
It was,
the
of course, for this
letters
reason
to like
that the-
cover it up.
Do you have headphones in, or is your mic in your mouth?
No, I was just giving.
Japanese Buddhist priests who visited China to study Buddhism, especially Zen priests, introduced Confucianism into Japan. Because despite certain limitations that Confucianism has, and it always needs the Tao philosophy as a counterbalance, Confucianism has been one of the most successful philosophies in all history for the regulation of governmental and family relationships. But of course, it is concerned with formality. Confucianism prescribes all kinds of formal relationships, linguistic, ceremonial, musical, in etiquette,
in all the spheres of morals, and for this reason has always been twitted by the Taoists for being unnatural. You need these two components, you see, and they play against each other beautifully in Chinese society. Roughly speaking, you see, the Confucian way of life is for people involved in the world. The Taoist way of life is for people who get disentangled. Now, as we know in our own modern times, there are various ways of getting disentangled from the regular lifestyle, say, of the United States. If you want to go through the regular lifestyle of the United States, you go to high school and college, and then you go into a profession or a business. And you own a standard house, and you raise a family, and you have a car or two cars, and do all that jazz. But a lot of people don't want to live that way. There are lots of other ways of living besides that.
Absolutely do.
So you could say that those of us who go along with the pattern correspond to the Confucian. And those who are bohemians or bums or beatniks or whatever don't correspond with the pattern. They are more like the Taoists. Because the Taoist is really, actually in Chinese history, Taoism is a way of life for older people. Lao Tzu, the name given to the founder of Taoism, means the old boy. And the legend is that when he was born, he was already had a white beard. So,
Hey, what's up, guys?
it's sort of like this, that when you have contributed to society, when you've contributed children and brought them up, and you have assumed a certain role in social life, you then say, now it's time for me to find out what it's all about. Who am I, ultimately, behind my outward personality? What is the secret source of things? And the latter half of life is the preeminently excellent time to find this out. It's something to do when you have finished with the family business. I'm not saying that that is a sort of unavoidable strict rule. Of course, one can study the Tao when very young, because it contains all kinds of secrets in it as to the performance of every kind of art or craft or business or any occupation whatsoever. But it does, in China, in a way, it plays that role of a kind of safety valve for the more restricted way of life that Confucianism prescribes. And there is a sort of type in China who's known as the old rogue. He's a sort of intellectual bum, often found among scholars, who is admired very much, and who a type of character which had an enormous influence on the development of the ideals of Zen Buddhist life. He is one, you see, who goes with nature rather than against nature. Well, now, first of all, I'm going to talk about ideas which come strictly out of Lao Tzu's book, the Tao Te Ching. And, of course, the basic thing in the whole philosophy is the conception of Tao. This word has many meanings. And the book of Lao Tzu starts out by saying that the Tao which can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. Or there's a pun in there which you can't quite put into English. You can't give all the meanings, because the word Tao means both way or course of nature or of everything. It also means to speak. So,
they don't know if it's colitis
the
or...
actual opening phrase of the
Never
book,
mind, we won't need to go in there. It's all the detail.
following this word Tao, is this,
I have some, probably have some,
see?
probably
And this character means can be,
unnamed
or can,
disease.
able, something like that.
But what's the
way which
is it
can be,
autoimmune? Is it...
then give it its
It's supposed to be autoimmune, yeah.
described, uttered.
I got the new
But it
age.
also means the way that can be weighed. Not W-E-I-G-H, but W-A-Y-E-D.
2025 age.
Now you'd have to invent that word.
Those injectables for psoriasis
The way
and stuff
that
like
can
that?
be traveled, perhaps, is
I
not the
said
eternal way.
maybe one of the injectables
In
for
other
like
words,
psoriasis
there is no
or
Psoriasis.
what the fuck are they called?
Herpes.
They were like they kind of have like a broad.
Oh, hold on, everybody. I gotta go to the bathroom and take my daily dose of prep real quick. I forgot to take my prep last night.
way in which the Tao, or following the Tao, can, there's no recipe for it. I can't give you any do-it-yourself instructions, A, B, C, D, as to how it's done. It was like when Louis Armstrong was asked, what is jazz? He said, if you have to ask, you don't know. Now that's awkward, isn't it? But we can gather what it is by absorbing certain atmospheres and attitudes connected with those who follow it. And from the art and the poetry and all the expressions and the anecdotes and stories that illustrate the philosophy of the way. So this word then, the way or the course of things, is not, you must understand this, some Christian missionaries translated Tao as the Logos, taking as their point of departure the opening passage of St. John's Gospel, in the beginning was the Word. Now if you look up a Chinese translation of the Bible, it says in the beginning was the Tao. And the Tao was with God, and the Tao was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by it, and without it was not anything made that was made. So they've substituted Tao there. Now that may make a very funny effect on a Chinese philosopher, because the idea of things being made by the Tao is absurd. The Tao is not a manufacturer, and it's not a governor. It doesn't rule, as it were, in the position of a king. Although the book, the Tao Te Ching, is written for many purposes, but one of its important purposes is as a manual of guidance for a ruler. And what it tells him is essentially, rule by not ruling. Don't lord it over the people. And so he says the great Tao flows everywhere, both to the left and to the right. It loves and nourishes all things, but does not lord it over them. And when good things are accomplished, it lays no claim to them. In other words, the Tao doesn't stand up and say, I have made all of you, I have filled this earth with its beauty and glory, fall down before me and worship. The Tao, having done anything, always escapes, and is not around to receive any thanks or acknowledgement, because it loves obscurity. And Lao Tzu said the Tao is like water. It always seeks the low level which human beings abhor. So it's a very mysterious idea. Tao, then, is not really equivalent with any Western or Hindu idea of God, because God is always associated with being the Lord. Even in India, the Brahman, is often called the Supreme Lord, although that was the term more strictly applicable to Ishvara, the manifestation of Brahman in the form of a personal God. But Bhagavan, the Lord, Krishna, his song is the Bhagavad Gita, the song of the Lord. There's always the idea of the king and the ruler attached, but not in the Chinese Tao philosophy. The Tao is not something different from nature, from ourselves, from our surrounding trees and waters and air. The Tao is the way all that behaves. And so the basic Chinese idea of the universe is really that it's an organism. And as we shall see when we get on to Zhuangzi, who is the sort of elaborator of
I think this t-shirt is what's getting the views on my YouTube video.
He sees everything operating together so that nowhere can you find the controlling center. There isn't any. The world is a system of interrelated components, none of which can survive without each other. Just as in the case of bees and flowers, you will never find bees around in a place where there aren't flowers, and you will never find flowers around in a place where there aren't bees or insects that do the equivalent job. And what that tells us secretly is that although bees and flowers look different from each other, they're inseparable. They, to use a very important Taoist expression, they arise mutually. This is one of the great phrases from the second chapter of Lao Tzu's book, where he says, this character means to have or to be. And this next one is a very important character in Taoist philosophy. It means no, negative, wu in Chinese, not to be. And then this curious expression, for which we don't have a really good corresponding idea in traditional Western thought. So, to be and not to be mutually arise. This character is based on the picture of a plant, something that grows out of the ground. So, you could say positive and negative, to be and not to be, yes and no. Light and dark arise and mutually come into being. There's none is cause and effect. It's not that relationship at all. It's like the egg and the hen. So as the bees and the flowers coexist in the same way as high and low, back and front, long and short, loud and soft, all those experiences are experienceable only in terms of their polar experience. So the Chinese idea of nature is that all the various species arise mutually because they interdepend. And this total system of interdependence is the Tao. It involves certain other things that go along with Tao, but this mutual arising is the key idea to the whole thing. And it is, if you want to understand Chinese and Oriental thought in general, it is the most important thing to grasp. Because you see, we think so much in terms of cause and effect. We think of the universe today in Aristotelian and Newtonian ways. And in that philosophy, the world is all separated. It's like a huge amalgamation of billiard balls. And they don't move until struck by another, or by a cue. And so everything is going tock, 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 all over the place. One thing starting off another in a mechanical way. But of course, from the standpoint of 20th century science, we know perfectly well now that that's not the way it works. We know enough about relationships to see that that mechanical model which Newton devised was all right for certain purposes. But it breaks down now because we understand relativity. And we see how things go together in a kind of connected net rather than in a chain of billiard balls banging each other around. So, in the philosophy of the Tao, it is said, it's always being said, this is, you read this in every art book about Chinese art, that in Chinese painting, man is always seen as in nature, rather than dominating it. You get a painting entitled Poet Drinking by Moonlight, and you see a great landscape, and after some search with a magnifying glass, at last you see the poet stuck away in a corner somewhere, drinking wine. Whereas if we painted the subject poet drinking by moonlight, the poet would be the most obvious thing in the picture. There he would be, dominating the whole thing, and the landscape off somewhere behind him. But all the Chinese painters put man, I mean, the painters of the great classical tradition, there are Chinese painters who specialize in family portraits and do these very formal paintings of someone's ancestor sitting on a throne. It's quite a different category. But the Taoist-inspired painters, the Zen-inspired painters, have this view of man as an integral part of nature. Something in it, just as everything else is in it, flowers and birds, and not there, sent into this world, commissioned by some sort of supernatural being to come into this world and farm it and dominate it. So then,
Yeah, I'm gonna
the whole conception
give
of nature.
half of them to my homies that are just like too fucked up to get their shit together.
You
Cool.
baked brownies?
You and I are the same person.
And then the
I
other,
wanted to do that.
You guys are in love.
We are soulmates already.
You're
so-
soulmates.
rent out on Airbnb. So people who want to
Who goes in who first?
to people who want to kind of like I'm not gonna dox my location, but the kind of hippie experience of that.
Just say Uranus.
California hippie experience.
Is as a self-regulating,
And
Self-
if it all goes to hell, whatever, fuck it.
Amazing.
Yes. What's up, Karan? How you doing?
Allahu Akbar, Bismillah Rahman Rahim, Alhamdulillah, my clown house clowns, Allahu Akbar.
Did Nora see you already?
Oh yes, she said, since you're trampling on a beautiful, precious Quran, the least you can do is read it. And then I told her the version of the Quran I had, and she goes, that's not a good translation.
Wait, didn't she want to become Catholic? Why does she care?
She said she was Christian the other day.
Really?
Yes.
Gosh.
Who?
Nora.
Nora.
Well, good.
Well, good luck with that one.
Good work, she ate. I know, because I remember being so proud of you.
Wait, PTR, I just uploaded a new photo of Noura Bandura.
That's a compliment.
Which one? She's both, duh. Two answers can be right at the same time.
Just philosophical. I love that you have my picture with this name. That was so good.
Yeah, I was going into every room blasting the Islamic call to prayer.
It's so cute, and then with the name Quran is like devilish.
Yeah, it's like kitty power. It's like using the Quran mixed with like a kitty or something like to project
Yeah,
it.
it's like, what's the horror movie called? Chucky?
Or the shooter.
Chucky one.
What do
Like,
you think?
imagine it comes at night. And
What do you think I should do? I gotta go all the way back downtown to get my car out of a tow impound lot, but it's
I wish I was in downtown Chicago right
How
now.
did you predict that was going to happen to you?
no, I knew. I mean, I walked out of the nightclub last night and my car was gone. I was
Yeah,
like,
but you were talking about this 3 nights ago.
oh God. Then I neurolinguistically programmed myself.
Manifest. Yes,
Yep.
you
Oh.
do it on purpose so you can say this on Clubhouse.
Anyways, my point is, it's $35 a night, but I'm thinking like if I go tonight, maybe there will be very few workers there, and so I could end up waiting like hours because there's a line. So I'm wondering, like, I just don't know. Is tonight the night, or do I go tomorrow morning?
Is it cold?
It's not that bad.
Well, don't Americans have family dinner right now?
What family? My family. They wrote me off years ago.
No, general family.
My
General
sister
family.
sent me
No, not you,
$250.
not you.
My sister sent me $250 last night for some reason, like on Zelle Pay as like a
That
Christmas
is
gift.
cute.
Yeah, so then I wrote her an email and I CC'd my mom. I said, thanks, but unfortunately this
Aw.
money's gonna be applied towards the towing. And my mom sent me back the nastiest email. Like, oh, I was like,
No, what did she say?
I just wrote back. I was like, it's have joy now. I was like, it's Christmas. I was like, something terrible could have happened last night. Who knows? This is no big deal, Like, okay, it's $300. Like, oof, like it's not the end of the world.
Sorry, what happened? She sent you money and then.
My sister sent me $250 randomly, so I saw it in my Zelle, and then I emailed my mom and my sister saying, unfortunately, I got towed last night, so this money is going to be used towards paying the towing. Yeah.
Well, what's wrong with that? That's good. It's good that you got the money because you got towed.
I know, but either way, my mom wrote a real nasty email back, calling me like a loser piece of shit and a waste of investment.
Because you got towed? Fucked up.
No, she said my whole life was a waste of her investment.
Well, you didn't choose to be born. She chose to have you.
I'm being facetious because it's like, it's Christmas, it's like, did people forget? Did you forget today was Christmas?
Well, does she know all the great work you do here on Clubhouse?
Your mom's a Christian?
My mom has a flip phone and she doesn't even give me the telephone number to it.
How do you talk to her on the phone?
I don't know. She calls me from her house line, or I call her house line. But she has a flip phone that my sister bought her, just exclusive for my sister to call her.
I hope you're not.
No, I'm not making
Is
that
your mom
up.
an atheist or is she a Christian?
She's a Christian.
That's weird behavior.
You think I'm weird? Like, imagine the woman who had to create me. Like, that is weird.
Yeah.
I'm like a more finely balanced.
Wait, how is your father?
My dad is, a nice, normal person. But apparently my sister thinks he's a racist.
Wait, where does your father, in America or Israel?
He lives in Little Israel in Miami.
Oh, nice. Don't you want to be closer to him?
Yeah, that would be awesome, but unfortunately, like, I kind of had a falling out with his wife, even though I've, apologized, and yeah, I had like I was having some fun on the internet, and I was making fun of her, so like because I did it publicly, I like forever ruined my relationship. Yeah.
I would not know what it would be like to not be my mom's favorite.
Did you get your car back, bro?
No, dude, I'm sitting here talking about getting my car back.
What do you need to get your car back, bro?
I need $300. Plus, I got to pay the $100 ticket. I have the money. I can put it on my credit card. But the point is, it's like I got to get an Uber to go down there. and it's so creepy and so scary, and it is the worst fucking thing in the world. I've already left a negative Google review before I even went.
Wait, can't you go with the subway?
No, fuck
It's
no.
$5.
No, fuck no. Right now,
No, come on, the subway is not bad.
Abby, not bad. Where do you think people get murdered? In the fucking trains. It's full of homeless people.
Subway, stop lying.
It's okay during business hours and work hours, but on a night like tonight, you got the worst of the worst just raping and murdering and shooting and burning on the train. Did you see what happened to that poor 29-year-old white girl that got set on fire by the Guatemalan? She didn't even know what to do. She was like, I'm on fire, but I don't know what to do. Stop, drop, roll. Stop, drop, roll. Stop. Don't just stand and burn and let people film TikTok videos.
Yeah, but dude, if you're on fire, you probably are unable to. Oh,
Did you see the video? It was so horrific because people weren't even helping. They didn't even like take their jacket off and try to like, put the fire out. It was like, what the fuck? Even the person filming that video of her should be fucking arrested. It was the most disgusting video ever.
I agree with you. But I see a pattern in your behavior. If you want, I can say it. I can also keep it to myself.
There's no pattern. I mean, you
No,
go.
I feel like the women in your life do not get along with you.
Well, I have documented it and filmed it, and I actually have video evidence that my mom and my sister are very aggressive and almost, I would say, borderline.
But also your father's new wife, for example, you don't get along with her.
Well,
If they don't accept your behavior or you're mean to them?
Yeah, I made fun of my dad. There's separate issues. I've never. The thing is, I was live streaming my conversation with my sister, and my sister was making fun of her. And then prior to that, I was making fun of her. So that's the reason why she hates us, which is totally understandable. If your husband's kids were making fun of you on the internet, I would be very angry. But I've apologized and said I was very immature and stupid and depression filled and alcohol filled and ignorant and mean and stupid, and so I've asked for forgiveness on Yom Kippur. So I've cleared my conscience and have restored myself to noble character. But nonetheless, I don't get invites to their house, and I understand. It's like,
when did your parents get divorced?
When I was young.
How old is young?
Third grade, first grade probably.
Yeah, me too. Who did you live with?
I lived with my mom, and then my mom sold her house and gave us to my dad, and she left the state and moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, from Chicago.
When was that? How old were you?
Fourth grade, my mom abandoned us and just left the state.
Fourth grade.
Did you or your father, accidentally swipe?
Huh?
Did you or your father live in Albuquerque?
My mom lives there.
With you?
I lived in Chicago with my dad and my grandmother.
I want to live in New Mexico.
It's pretty, and the weather's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's very pretty. The mountains, the air, it's just deserty. It's a very nice place to live. If you have allergies, I think it's probably a great place to live.
It's okay. We are all a bunch of crazy people. I'm sorry your family treats you like that, and you should have forgiven you after apologizing.
No, listen, it's just like Clubhouse. It's like me trolling you guys. But it's just like my mom and my sister trolling me. And really what they're doing is testing to see how tough I am and to see if I'm fucked up. So I don't take it personally anymore. I just view it as an algorithm. And because I've studied enough philosophy, I'm just don't take anything personally. It's my mom can't have a conversation without trying to get a rib shot in. She's always trying to get that dopamine. So that's just the kind of intense person she is. I think she's a Sagittarius. I'm a Scorpio, so whatever the hell that means. But the point is, she's an intense woman. I mean, some women are very intense, just psycho.
I love that. I love intense women.
I like them, but I also like dislike them in a way because they're very discarding of men. It's always about like filling their nest.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them, you know.
I guess, yeah. But I mean,
Both
yeah.
of us can be disgusting, but men lie a lot.
I have found that, when I was young, I was lying a lot, but now that I'm older, I do not want to tell a lie because I do not want to have repercussions from lying.
That's true. I think it's the opposite with women.
I would rather just be honest and gross the person out and like admit that I'm a pig than like try to like deceive somebody about like, that I'm cheating on them if we discussed being in a, you know, a relationship or something like that. Like I don't know. Maybe I would conceal. Who knows? I'm just saying that it's exhausting
It's just
lying.
managing expectations.
Yeah.
It's easier to manage.
What do you think about a relationship where like you've never explicitly said you're in an exclusive relationship, but because you're with each other so much, you feel like there's no reason to discuss exclusivity because you believe you're already exclusive without saying it.
Well, if you are actually acting like it, the action speaks for itself. You don't really.
But what about these?
If you are already living with each other, like, you're voluntarily in that situation, and so are they. So it's like you've accepted it. With you don't. You're as long as you're not trying to claim ownership over somebody, there's no need to even express it.
But ownership of somebody is like the most ridiculous concept. Nobody really owns anybody. So it's like you said, it's expectations of behavior, expectations of speech, expectations of cleanliness, responsibility, mature, like all those things. Like when people start violating what you think is a high standard or a high level of awareness or companionship, I don't know. It's just life is so crazy because it's like day to day. So, like to even think like when you get into a relationship with somebody, it's like, if they're failing, I mean, your expectations, like you are the sucker, you're the one living in the delusion. Because love, in many ways, you could say is like insanity. When you have puppy dog love or like, you're totally codependent, like you could say like that is an actual form of like derangement.
Yeah, it feels crazy.
I can only imagine what it's like to be gay. I don't know how you do it. Like without the opposite, it's to me it's like gross. Like I need the absolute opposite of myself. Like I could, to imagine like making love to another 6'3" bald man. It's like no, that just mathematically.
Maybe he's 5'7" or 5'9", and he's got thick, silky, golden hair.
Oh, you're fucking Zeus.
And he's got soft skin, and
as opposed to like psoriasis.
As opposed to like calluses. Some men just have really thick skin, like they've got like it's just hard. I don't know.
Yeah, it's called a skin condition. It's called like not taking care of yourself for many years, and now your skin is all like scaly and layered with, you need therapy. You got to be scrubbed down, exfoliated, put in the sun, rehydrated, exfoliated, put back in the sun.
How do you
Moisturize.
exfoliate?
I use this Australian like clay sand product. I think it's called St. Ivy's. I can't remember the name. St. Helens or whatever. That I've been using that for years. And then I also have a microdermabrasion cloth. And then I also have this other like type of microdermabrasion fabric, which is like a little bit bigger, but that with hot baths and then sitting in the sun
Yep.
as much as possible is like the best way to clear your skin of like, you know, all infections and wounds and everything else.
I love that cloth. Like all your dead skin is getting rubbed off.
Yeah, all the dust in your apartment, all those dust bunnies and everything, that's like you're molting. What is it? Every 30 days you molt a whole nother layer, or do you know what the number of days is for molting? Like a snake?
No.
I think we Googled this once on this app. It was like 30 to 45 days or 60 days or 80 days. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. The point is you're constantly shedding, but like you can accelerate it by exfoliating. And
Yeah,
thus,
exfoliation is really important.
that's why they call me Dr. Dermatology. I swear, I want to like just be gay, like on the internet, like like insanely gay, like over the top gay, just to prove that like people are conditioned on like female voices, gay behavior. But then when they find out that I'm not gay, like that's the joke where they're like, "Oh my god, like I thought he was really gay," and that's the whole point of the show is to just like make people think I'm gay and then to say, "Hey, I'm not gay. All communication is hypnosis."
Hypnosis.
And they'll say, "Shucks, that fake gay guy fooled me into thinking he was gay." Then I show up at a bar in Boys Town doing drag, doing splits, doing somersaults through the air, playing a flute. Do you think Zach Ruda could do splits? Do somersaults through the air and play a flute? Dance in a rainbow?
If he wants to, he could.
Were you just saying that you wanted to do drag?
Yeah, to like finish off my like television show where I do a drag performance, and then I'd give a speech about LGBTQ rights. All communication is hypnosis.
Well, you've seen that before.
I mean, I just like think it would be funny to give a speech about LGBTQ rights, and your explanation, you know, or like what I'm trying to persuade them is so ridiculous and over the top, and I claim like all kinds of new rights for LGBTQs that like are beyond like even rights, like you know, you just make wild assertions.
Oh, fuck.
Oh shit! What happened?
Forgot my animal gun.
You forgot to what?
Come on.
Oh, you left your dog out.
Dog gun.
Oopsie! Just got picked up by an owl. My dog! My dog got eaten by an owl!
On RuPaul's Drag Race, they bring straight men in and
They bring homeless people in and turn them into trans and give them a makeover?
no, they turn married men with jobs into drag queens.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just think like I've already looked into it. There's so much gay content out there, but most of it's just like, you know what's the craziest thing is, you know what the gayest content is that like LGBTQ anti-groomers TikTok or whatever, because it's like tons of gay content, but then they show the worst cases of like LGBTQP pederasty and other grooming videos showing grown men creating content targeting children and the adolescent.
Yeah, I see that. All they talk about is that couple that raped their.
Yeah, those two guys.
People.
That was gross.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
How do you think they like decided to like investigate and arrest them? Because like were they reported and then they did like a sting operation? Like how do they actually investigate that? And because they could be worried of like legal ramifications from being accused of being like anti-homophobic or whatever, whatever LGBTQ or whatever.
You're my favorite Christian in action.
I mean, they either have to keep those kids home all the time.
I guess actually that's a
and
terrible
someone will
question.
say something about how the kid's never been to a doctor.
Let's actually not answer that question. I think even creating content about that is like leading, oh horrible, just let it be. Anyways, Danny, you're right. You too are my favorite Christian in action.
I'm still walking the line between Jew and Christian. It's interesting.
Well, look, Diego converted Nura Bandura to being a Christian, and she accepts Jesus Christ as the Messiah now, which is great news. That's unbelievable. That he changed her soul.
Mm-hmm.
Diego, in many ways, is like the modern day Jesus, you might say, of Clown House. He converted a Muslim, rabid anti-Semite into being a Christian.
Perfect. Since when has Jesus dandruff?
Dean, do you know what they did to Jesus? Do you know what his hair was like on the day of crucifixion? It was not a good hair day. It was not a good hair day.
I always thought that Jesus has luscious hair, That's like, wow.
But does he have a big penis?
A Roman soldier did write in a journal that it did seem like Jesus had a hair blowout that day. Like he had a perm or something on the cross.
How come that Diego has dandruff if he's the new age Jesus? Maybe this is just a psyop.
People that have dandruff don't have happy hair. It's that fresh, alive feeling you've always been looking for.
If Diego is the new Jesus,
a black Hebrew.
I'm going to hell. Shut up! I'm talking. I will go to hell.
Yeah, no, Black Hebrew Israelite told me today that I was made in a Cabbage Patch garden.
Were you made in a Cabbage Patch garden?
Yeah, he said that I'm a clone from Coney Island and that white people are made to...
You can go from left to right or right to left.
Well, they said that the new Jews were
Danny, that PTR is hilarious. I just looked at it. That's fucking hilarious. You honestly have some of the funniest PTRs, and I screenshot all your PTRs and stuff. What?
Yeah, now I have a screenshot of your son.
Whoa, no.
They deleted my Instagram last night. It was called Gallery Chicago Art, and it was like a whole new.
No, that was my favorite.
No, that one is still up. The Adrian Dittman man, that one is still up. But this is a new phone. This because I got the Quran going, and anyways, I'm just saying like it's all backed up. But like I think the PTR screenshots is fun.
Sometimes I accidentally take a screenshot because my phone's dirty.
Gross. Does that mean your skin is oily and sebaceous?
Probably.
No, but I'm gonna alcohol wipe this shit right now that I got marijuana on my phone.
Oh shit! You smoke weed?
She does.
So Zach Ruda said he's gonna move to Israel, and his dad wants to, be buried there with his father. So they're gonna all emigrate to Israel and do Aliyah together as a family. Isn't that just special?
When did he say that?
He said it when he was in Israel to me on Clown House before he went out and got a hand job.
He got a hand job there?
No, he got a hand job in Dubai from some prostitute he hired.
Mm.
He said it wasn't very fulfilling.
My husband likes to do that.
Your husband likes to cheat on you and get hand jobs?
Yeah.
What's the point of a... Oh my God, could you... I have a vibrator. It's called a Yorosi wand. And let me tell you, ladies, if you think your hand job is as good as a Yorosi wand, it's not. So, thus, what I'm trying to say is that orgasm as cheap as possible and orgasm as high as quality as possible. It's possible to have free orgasm. Did you know you don't have to have a huge opportunity cost to bust a nut? So thus, once you take the dopamine of sex out of the equation, you realize your partner, based on responsibility and relationship skills is more valuable than some cheap, horrible hand job orgasm that hurts your dick. Because a lot of guys, after you have sex, you're like, my dick kind of hurts.
I don't give hand jobs, it's just blowjobs.
Don't you have to grip the dick in order to blow it?
Nope. Hand free.
Oh, wow. That's what I tell girls. And I say, no hands, baby. No hands. No hands.
Yeah, my husband got mad for using the hands. He said I was lazy, and I don't feel that was a move of being lazy. You know what? He should suck a dick and then come back to me.
I can tell that since you're on Clubhouse, I really don't know if you have children or you're married, but like the fact that you're here probably says you're not married and don't have children. Otherwise, you'd be busy doing things with children and a husband. I don't know. That's just me. If I was a woman, I'd be like all in on my husband and kids, my house, my job, my career. I'd be doing something with my life instead of just like, you know, fucking claiming I'm Andy Warhol on Cloud House.
Why does that bother you so much that I'm in the hive mind with Elon Musk and Kanye West?
Listen, I am filming Adrian Dittman. I hope he comes live soon. Go to adriandittman.com to see Elon Musk act like a retard. Actually, I think I'm going to pin it to the room.
I don't understand. Is the reason that Doggy did so well, why is the chill dog in the grid?
Because the dog is like God in the World Wide Web. It's the all-seeing eye of the power of the dog.
So, Edmund, do you believe you could sell your soul?
Yes, I think you can contractually lease and sell souls. Because
how do you get it back?
It's called marriage, Danny. Have you heard of this thing called marriage when you contract and you give away your balls to some future lawyer and judge you never met and half of all your money? Did you know that is the actual soul contract your facetious question is revealing? It's called marriage contracts, Danny. You got to sign on the dotted line right here, Danny. Can you sign right here? Sign right here. Sign right here. This is where your signature goes, Danny. No. It's called your pen name, your soul.
We'll never do it. Nope.
Well, that's why your husband gets hand jobs from, coworkers in the parking lot at 6 o'clock after work.
Co-workers? You think they'll do that? He'll get fired.
What's a good co-worker?
He's above them. He can't do that.
Oh, that would be sexual harassment. Do you think it was sexual harassment when my manager called me a whore?
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah, it was.
I agree. That's why I'm submitting the paperwork after New Year's. Because guess what? You know what the magic number is, David Bobadilla? We don't do one thing. Yeah. I'm at the bar with my clients having drinks. Ooh, Henny's here. Hi, Henny. Welcome to the room. This is your Christmas wind down syndrome.
Is your job to be a whore?
Wind down.
Wind down.
Lou.
Lou, mop me up and kick him.
Who has the most bodies on Clubhouse?
Me.
It's like sex count. How many guys have you slept with, and you slept with one girl?
If somebody wants to kick you, I mean that's their prerogative, right?
That's your prerogative to say that's your prerogative. I know that you love to talk about reserving the balance of your time and prerogatives, but with all due respect, can't go. I'm at the hockey game. We're at the bar with my clients. Oh, we love. Okay, so taking you back to your Christmas wind down syndrome, we're going to do a guided Christmas breathing meditation for more presence, a reduction in taxes, a reduction in insurance expenses, and a reduction in overhead of utilities. So take the deepest breath of the day. through your nose. Hold it for 10 seconds. Go deeper. Go deeper. Let it go and say, I am Santa Claus, high in the North Pole, with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, with $1 trillion worth of packages, just waiting to fill up your cupboards, your supply rooms, your garages, your warehouses. You're rich again. Santa's flying through the air, the NORAD tracker, and Joe Biden just called Santa. Christmas isn't over yet, everybody. Santa's in town. So take the second deepest breath of
Do you
the
have
day.
any adrenochrome for me, please? Could I have some adrenochrome?
If you participate in the ritual, it gets the adrenochrome. Silence, please. Take the second deepest breath of the day through your nose.
I want to be Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, please.
I think Ryan said something earlier that had me laughing. I like spit out my coffee. He's like, "Do you suck your wife's dick?"
I said it really to suck a woman's dick.
I fucking like was dying laughing when I heard that.
Oh, about Sam.
Yeah.
Have you sucked a dick yet, Edmund?
No.
That dude is like
Weird.
fucking gay, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, his wife divorced him, but it doesn't mean that it's because he's gay. He could be effeminate. I know an effeminate Indian guy.
I've seen his back channel. With pussy.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah, he's so hard denying that he's not. But come on.
I mean, do you think that in Maha America, like, if we go hardcore fascist, like, do you think they're gonna like outlaw LGBTQ and gay activities? Like, you will not be able to have an orgasm with a man. It'll be illegal.
Not yet. Maybe at some point, yeah.
Really?
They won't know.
Yeah, maybe at some point it will.
You really think orgasming with the same sex will be outlowed?
Yeah, at some point.
And you're gonna get a PhD?
The only singers are gonna have an issue.
Wait a minute.
If we go in the direction of a right wing, actual right wing, not the new right wing, it should be because that's a right wing mentality.
Like,
I thought you were a lesbian.
So the corollary or the analog would be Nazi Germany, and I think we need T-Rob's and like Diego's insight into the upper echelon of Nazi Germany's insider homosexual cliques.
No.
Wait, I heard that they all like to fuck Hitler's niece.
What?
He had a niece? What was his name?
It was a woman. Let me look this up.
Is that a true story?
No, she probably makes.
Because the thing about Hitler is, like, they say he killed his niece or something because, like, he was sleeping. He had a romantic affair with his own, like, family member, and she ended up dying. I don't know if you know that story, but there was some kind of fucked up thing that happened. I don't know if it's propaganda.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I heard that, like, she, like, did something with someone else and he was, like, super jealous and, like, hated the person or something.
She killed herself, I think. She committed suicide. Anyways, we don't need to repeat horrible, history during the birthday.
Yeah, especially not during Christmas. Yeah, what do you think about the AFD, Edmund?
I couldn't believe, like, Elon's, like, supporting it. But then I saw a photo of who leads the AFD, and it's, like, two lesbians.
That is.
It's like
Yes,
it's like a mixed couple.
It's funny because, like, I talked about it, no one knew about it. And then 3 days later, all these big accounts were like, oh, do you know she's a lesbian? Do you know she married, or I don't know if she's married or she's partnered up with a Sri Lankan immigrant, a woman, and also they adopted 2 sons.
So.
But like, how can you be so contradictory? Like, the AFD is literally homophobic, like anti-LGBT.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. How is she leading a far right conservative? Exactly. I don't understand that.
And first of all, she's also a woman.
Because they don't believe in female homosexuality. They are.
Oh, I see. They're okay with lesbians licking pussy, but not with
LGBT.
men sucking dick.
What does the L stand for?
That's the
Lesbian. What that's they don't know what LGBT stands for. They just know that it signifies gay men.
It just.
But why is she this old and still not with a man?
What it points out is that the penis is sacred, but the pussy is always substandard to the penis.
Yeah, but still, okay. Let's forget she's lesbian. Let's forget she's lesbian. Why is she allowing immigrants to be with her?
Why is she allowing? Because they're in love. What do you mean? Love conquers all discrimination.
No, but like, yes, I agree with you. But like at the same time, like, she's anti-immigration. So why is she allowing immigrants to be integrated into the country?
Because most leaders of political parties are hypocrites, and within every conservative far right group, men are always willing to let women engage in sexual, intercourse and union because they're not viewed as a threat to the sacredness of the superiority of the penis.
They're also they're not against immigration. They're against open immigration.
Yeah.
They still
No,
want
they are against immigration.
They know, because you can't like breed an Einstein. Like, so you want people like that, so you have to let them come in.
Have you ever
They are in general anti-immigration.
Yeah, they're definitely against all the immigrants that are imported into the country.
You can breed super soldiers.
Also, like, she's a woman, a far right movement or ideology is against women leading.
Obviously, but in practice, she sees value in the Sri Lankan person.
Wait, the reason why they're
she doesn't care. They don't want regular workers coming into their country. That's what they don't want.
No, they don't. Like, please read about it. Read their policies, and then.
I get what people say, but like, obviously, that's not what she actually believes.
No, what I think is they might be using her for strategic purposes because she is in a gay relationship. So it shows that they're not extreme discriminating people, and so they can essentially pull off a micro strategy, because to go big, and send people home is not going to happen.
Being a Jew?
No, what I'm trying to say is that Germany has a major problem, and I don't know. Do you see how Poland treats immigration in their country? Like, they're battling people at the gates with like fire hoses, repelling, asylum seekers.
Honestly, what you see on Twitter is not the same as what actually is in Poland. There are immigrants there also, like quite an amount.
I know, but not the mass male asylum seekers.
The difference is the Polish people will actually fuck you up if you fuck them up. That's the scare that the immigrants have over there. Whereas in Germany, shut up, Danny, I'm talking. I will block you if you talk over me. And then in Germany now, like, they are not as strong as the Polish mindset,
Well, when you yell at Danny on your phone and you say, "I will block you," like, that shows that, like, you are a microcosm of your macrocosm environment. And like, the way you treat Danny is really the way that your government treats your people. And you're not even German. You're like something else. So it's like, geez, like, you're a hypocrite. Don't talk to Danny like that, because I like Andy Warhol.
I'm not German.
Yeah, why are you flexing on Poland of all places? Did you see they put the hose on the menorah on the Hanukkah?
Okay, then we have to do it this way.
I was in. Oh my gosh, Abby, don't be so fascist. Jeez, you're too German.
Yeah, for a couple more days and then I'll be Dutch. Yeah. So what I wanted to say is that their whole ideology is like a contradiction within itself. They do not want immigrants. Neither do they want like high class people, because Ryan, the mindset is shifting. They do not want to hire people that cannot speak German or from the German background. At least in East Germany right now, there's a lot of discrimination going on, which is not an issue for me, but there is some policies going on.
Listen, the one thing we can all agree about is violent crime becoming a victim, getting sliced, getting shot, getting, thrown into the train tracks. Like, there's just so many horrible ways to die, by assholes in the streets who shouldn't be there to begin with. Like, police need to really enforce laws. And I mean, I don't think homeless should be allowed to sleep on trains. They should not. Loitering has to be enforced. If you're loitering and you're homeless and you're a threat to society, you have to be taken into custody and put into a facility. And, but the problem is, it's like taxpayers don't want to pay for all that because the money's going to social equity programs and diversity and equity hiring initiatives.
We have it here, Edmund, and then still it's like the homeless do not want to be in those facilities, so they escape the facility and still want to be homeless.
Yeah, I get it. It's better to be living in a beautiful city where you can just beg every day and be homeless. The point is, the police have to take action. Like in Arizona, Sheriff Joe Arpaia, they had outdoor prison facilities with cots, and everybody had to get up and go to work. And if you didn't, you'd be whipped into being worked. Like, I don't know. I'm not pro-fascism, but like I'm beginning to see why in the 1940s fascism as like because it's like science and economics and law and politics and culture and like renewal, like there's a danger to it, but there's also a danger to just letting society kill you, because like when you become a victim or your child becomes a victim of some illegal alien from Guatemala that lights you on fire in the train, like there's a problem. And like that's where like real enforcement has like no toleration. And but that's where you start becoming hardcore fascist. But maybe not. Maybe we've just lost our understanding of law enforcement.
Definitely the latter.
I mean, there can be no toleration. Like in Saudi Arabia, if you, commit a major crime, like you're going to get killed. You're going to be killed and you're purged from existence. But Joe Biden just pardoned these 37 fucking heinous murderers. And Donald Trump says, go to hell. He like put out a tweet saying to the 37 murderers, go to hell. Like Trump.
So what is Donald Trump going to do with these people?
That's what I'm saying. It's like America in 25 days if Trump survives and he actually starts issuing edicts and people start following it out. Like America could go like into like a microcosm civil war, because you'll have Democrat governors like leading the charge patriotically, and Trump might just override them and deploy the military. Like we could go into a period of major instability.
No.
Don't say no. 1946, 45, 44, 40, all these years are reminders of what can happen when groupthink, propaganda, and rage take over. You got to understand, this is herd psychology.
You really think America will go to civil war? I
internally.
don't think that you guys hate each other enough in order to
not like a civil war in the way you're thinking, where it's like 50-50 fight. I'm talking about like where Trump could actually like carry out commando type insurgencies, micro insurgencies in all the major sanctuary cities. Because if you want to rip these people out of the cities that are being protected by the police and the governor and the mayors and the senators and the alder people, the councils, like everybody's protecting millions of illegals that need to be forcibly removed. That's where I'm saying you could have like, disruptions, but nothing like a sustained civil war with generals battling generals and shit like that, obviously.
I do think there's a potential for a civil war just because of this and other reasons. Like there's almost an alignment now with the rich but not the super rich elites and the poor, where like you're getting taxed after money, but that money's not actually being used to help anyone, right? Like still there's no health care, still people are homeless, still no one's getting help, there's no mental health, there's no the healthcare system's totally fucked. You're forced to
Luke, what is the most important thing in somebody's health? Like, what is the ultimate health care? Like, I know there's like, you have to see there's a spectrum. Like, housing is the most essential component of someone's fucking healthcare program in their life.
Yeah.
If you're living on the streets, What the fuck does healthcare mean if you don't even have housing?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I'm saying that all these components were like, now it's like, okay, even for like, for the super rich elites, none of this matters, right? But for like the, let's say like the vast majority of people, and even like, very wealthy people who are like, half their money's being taken, but that money's not actually being used for anything. I think there's like this mounting alignment between the poor who aren't even getting the services. You know what I mean? I'm saying, like, there's this growing alignment between the majority of people, even if you're poor or rich, where it's like the system is just not working. You know what I mean? Like, we're feeding so much into it, and it's all going to fraud and waste and misuse. That like it's just not working, right? I mean, like, you can't have, you know, wages that are the same for 30 years, but then housing prices are 100x higher. You know what I mean? Like, you can't take 50% of people's money and then
Well,
not
it's a
actually help poor
system.
people.
It's a system where you can't stop working or you die too. And so, like, you would
Yeah.
think that in like a rational, normal society, you save your wealth so you can learn to live in repose and just do creative things. And Elon is also part of the problem because he's extenuating the rocket scam and the interplanetary scam of going to Mars and build and preserving consciousness on other planets. Like, that is the dumbest fucking bullshit scam, and just means give me more government contracts. We'll never solve the housing crisis, and we'll never house our people. We will allow our borders to continue to pour open, and we will continue to engage in regime change and rocket space exploration until our people have completely died. Like, we're killing our people. We're taxing them and working that, and we're ruining their lives. Like, we don't give a fuck about the American people. That's why I'm saying, like, that type of awareness. Like, just go on your local train and see the homeless children sleeping in the train, obese, diabetic 18-year-olds doing heroin on a train. You're like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Like, there's no central authority for cleaning any of this up. It's just it's a Democrat communist hellhole. We are communists and we don't even know it.
Yeah, and like it's so bad that, like, even if you're like wealthy, you can't really access good healthcare because the systems that are in place. Like, it's crazy. And so I feel I could see that they're, if these things aren't fixed, right? If like if like semi together people can't like buy houses and have normal lives, then like, yeah, there's gonna be blood in the streets.
They don't even need houses. I've lived at the YMCA with the fucking bed bugs in what's called a single room occupancy. It's a fucking dorm room and it's a shared bathroom. People don't even have, that's a human right. We do not have that. And we're wasting all of our money on Ukraine, on Israel, on 100 other things. And like, I hope that basically what I'm saying is the big number is 25. It's 25 more days, I think, till Trump, or 20 days till Trump. Yeah, 25 more days till Trump becomes the president, or 26 days. Like, he's got to start that run so hard and so aggressively where he knocks it over and it can't recover. If the country can go libertarian and like pro Tea Party, and start shedding all of the herpes sores that this country has, and get rid of the infection. It's an internal problem, and it's all the fraud, like you said, it's all the waste, mismanagement, fraud, and it's the hypocrites and the liars, the cheats and the scammers. Like, the latest omnibus and the speaker, like, they got to go. Like, all these pieces of shit that have spent all this money on all these lies. Listen, the biggest thing is the COVID-19 and the V response and all the financial spending response. That to me is the biggest crime. And like, even as a coworker, as a worker who got an email saying, you'll be terminated if you don't get the V, like, that's still, to me, I want an apology, and I want the people responsible for even sending that email fired. I'm not going to stop till justice and people really understand what has happened, since March of 2020 with all the V injections.
Well, that came down from the government. You know what I mean? That was,
Well, it's a combination effort between the government and big pharma. And so it's not just government. Government spent the money, so pharma, listen, they manufactured those things in China. Like this was a coordinated and a very significant internal psyop, global psyop with Bill Gates, even George Bush, all the big pharma. Like this was a response to Trump taking over to deflate his entire administration. But I just hope Trump really knows like who the enemies are, and like he doesn't just like do the Christian thing and forgive people and say it's all in the past. I hope he like actually executes judgment. Otherwise, the law really has no value and there is no truth. It's just lies, deception, misinformation, and propaganda. We want the truth, and the truth has to come out. Otherwise, we can never cleanse ourselves, in terms of like our glorious history.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The difference between you and the Polish people is you guys won't even do anything to make these people get their job lost or get them fired or all these things. Like, what are you guys gonna do for the people who have actually betrayed you?
I think even knowing who they are is like enough, and like basically doxing them on the internet is like the way we get rectification. And if you know who they are, you know that they won't be able to play the same games like they did the second time around, because it's believed that there will be another pandemic and another V response globally.
You know who they are. Another fucking liberal on your street wouldn't know who they, if they actually betrayed or not. So
No, that's not what I mean in the streets. I'm talking about the national response. Like, I don't know if you know who Ivan Raiklin is, but he has like a deep state insider like hit list. Like I think there's 400 names on it, but like actually identifying the people who are doing all of this. Um, it's really just to make sure that we're aware. Like, and I don't know. I mean, listen, if they take over the FBI, like, does that mean they took over the CIA? No. Like, they're going to put somebody new in the CIA, but it's the bureaucrat. It's all the employees that are there for 30, 40 years. And like, the baby boomers don't want to let it go. Anyways, whatever. I'm just really rambling. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, no, I see. But like, I think it's good that these people are scared of the population and community rather than like, oh, I got my job fired, whatever, or they know about me on the internet, whatever. Because you can easily debunk it by saying you're a conspiracy theorist.
You don't trust the science? Well, didn't you go to school and study biology and chemistry and physics and math? You're not a STEM, are you? You should have studied STEM, and then you'd know that the vaccine response, not only was it justified, but it saved countless millions of lives.
Yeah, well, there you go. What are you gonna say for that? Come on.
Also, like, I'm not big on like the vaccine conspiracy theories, but like, I started having lots of health issues after I got the vaccine.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Like the COVID vaccine?
I have no evidence it's related, but like.
No,
there's no such thing as cause and effect. You're just imagining things, Luke. It's not cause and effect. Duh.
Yeah.
I have no like scientific evidence other than just the timing. You know what I mean?
No, but still, you're just N is 1. You cannot.
It's like the time I had sex with a man once and he perforated my anal lining and I bled really bad. But I don't think that's when I got the AIDS infection, because I started on PrEP like 2 years ago. I think it was when they did a blood transfusion when I was like 3, and I got somebody's blood that had AIDS in it. So it wasn't all the gay sex and all the bleeding internally in my rectum from all the perforations and plunging. And anyways, there's no such thing as cause and effect. Duh.
But anal sex is a leading cause of AIDS.
Yeah, he's just joking.
I know, but having health problems is also a leading cause by getting us an experimental ejaculation sent from China.
Also a leading cause of fun.
That's true. You can't have health problems unless you actually get this.
I'd rather have health problems, honestly, than to self-inflict.
Listen, the disease.
The COVID vaccine or other vaccine?
The disease of semen is consciousness itself.
Look,
What's up? Sorry, I gotta go.
which one you have? Which where you noticed the
What's up?
How many vaccines did you have, and which one? And when did you start to see the change in health problems?
I got 2 and no boosters because that's what I had to do basically for, you know.
Yeah, but which one?
I forget.
Huh?
Hey, 1 second.
Okay. Interesting.
So I've decided that I am gonna go get my car because there are places open on Christmas.
Let's go.
But this is my new burner phone, so I can take Clubhouse with me, but my data plan is limited.
What? So I gotta look at the timing exactly, but it was like it was all around the same time. This a bunch of stuff happened.
Let's go.
I don't know the exact timing, but it was like all around that time. Kind of shit started going to hell. I'm like, yeah. I mean, yeah. Pretty much. I don't know. Like it wasn't like, you know, the week after, you know, it was like, you know, a year after.
No, of course. A year after.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also can't just believe how fast the vaccine was made. It was made too fast.
Yeah.
Made too fast. They had the patents on it in 2010.
The thing is that they dropped all other research, almost all other research, not all, in order to focus more on one production.
People have been so highly programmed on the term COVID-19 that if you're in the hospital right now, you're still talking about it. Like, you can't get it out of your vocabulary. That's part of the mind virus. But, you know, it was like a horrible group think scenario where people were just panicking. But the point is, like, it's going to happen again. Like, global pandemic and global pandemic response and the media, they're all in cahoots. And it's going to happen again.
Yeah, I think it's very scary how if the government and the media wants you to be scared, they're gonna get you to be scared. They're gonna get you to believe. And I think COVID was a very big example of how the media can get you to believe anything. If they show it multiple times, they feed you with that narrative, you're going to believe it. And that was what 2020 was.
Listen,
and I also took both of the vaccines. I took both of them.
There's videos.
I didn't fall sick.
There are videos.
I just didn't fall sick. I have good immunity.
There are videos of Chinese resistance trying to fight the Chinese Communist Party, warning millions of Chinese, because not all the Chinese love the Chinese government. And many of them internally, just like in other countries, resist and try to subvert the government because of their history of murder, suppression, you know, violation of human rights, all those things. So I saw videos on X just recently of like Chinese nationals, whether they're in China or they're in Taiwan or others, but they're sitting there, you know, outing the Chinese CCP as being a eugenic type organization, and that the V's, you know, absolutely do not take that. They are basically a, you know, a medical. I can't say it because I'm live streaming myself, but I'm just saying that, you know, that it is a biological warfare weapon. And it's not even that either the C-19 was a biological warfare weapon systematically released and distributed, but the response itself is also a biological warfare weapon. I mean, we're repeating these things like, I don't even know, do you guys even agree with this type of analysis of the situation? Or do you think that it's all just like, you know, everyday normal business, normal medical response to a problem, just, you know, diagnose, prescribe, and, you know, cure? Or do you think there's like something like actually, you know, like conspiratorial, like global Depop and slash Bill Gates, etc.? Because that's what I really think is what we're going through, you know, globally. I mean, and it didn't impact Africa because they couldn't get it into Africa. And there's no way to distribute it in Africa because they don't have the media to distribute it there. Like the whole uptake is an equation of the media downtake, the pushing out of all the media and the response and activity based on the media creation.
Actually, I would disagree. It was actually into African countries because 2020 was when I moved to America from the country, from my African country. Our schools shut down. Local government told everybody to get into lockdown, but it was way after the West had already established it. It was like a whole year. It was very slow. I mean, the after effect for African countries, it was very slow. But yes, it did come to Africa after all, because we're basically following Western lead. Whatever the West does is just like an after wave for Africa. We do it much later, but we still do it. We went on lockdowns. Our schools were closed, but the thing that didn't come to Africa was the vaccinations. It came way, 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 way after, and it's still new till today. But yeah, the COVID mindset did come to Africa.
Yeah, but a lot of countries resisted it, or what I'm saying is they never developed symptoms, and so thus the the V response is what causes most of the problems. I mean, it's just Joe Rogan. There's a clip going around saying the COVID-19 conspiracy theorists, everything they said was correct, and that's like a very declarative all or nothing statement. And anyways, I mean, everybody knows what has happened, and but even today, major cities like in Chicago, they're still putting out messaging, get your flu shot, get your C-19 shot updated, get it done now, quick. Like it's still very important, but people doing it, it's only the compliance rate now is only like 10%. So like very few people are actually doing it because of X, most likely, and what has come out as a result of investigating Fauci. I mean, Rand Paul has subpoena power now going into the new administration, and they're estimating that they're going to try to arrest Fauci for crimes against humanity.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the original COVID virus was obviously a bioengineered virus, right? Like that's pretty clear. It was a lab leak, right? Intentional or not, but certainly human-made.
But what I still don't understand is if it's a lab leak, it's like, what is it, like that movie with Dustin Hoffman where it's like, there's a lab leak, and then all of a sudden it just fucking flies around the world at the speed of light and millions upon millions and everybody gets it. It's like, no. It's like, so what did they do? Like distribute it in cities? Like even if they got people infected at that Wuhan military games, and then everybody went back to their home country and like spread it. It's like, is that really enough? Or like how? But the thing is, that's why I say I feel like they created it, but they amplified it, and it became a mind virus faster than the actual virus was able to actually even expand. So thus the V response, whatever is in that patented chemical formulations that, see the major manufacturers like Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, they didn't even manufacture it. They outsourced the manufacturing to India and China. And India and China mass batch that shit. Like, do you really trust some Indian fucking laboratory in some mass manufacturing plant to like carry out some fucking complicated formula, which they probably didn't even actually use the right cooking ingredients? You know what I'm saying? It's like the whole thing is like, Jesus Christ, what a fucking disaster.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have our geopolitical adversaries manufacture a experimental vaccine that we give to 100% of the people with no tests.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly why I'm just like really still pissed about it, because it's like getting emails from coworkers, telling me to take it, otherwise I'm going to be fired, and let alone family members rushing out to get it like it's a new iPhone. It's like I'm just like still extraordinarily disappointed that like my fellow Americans like just fell like the wind just came by and just blew them over, poof, and they just fucking boom, you're done. Like it's like what? And then my family's pissed at me, and you know what? I might outlive them all because everybody's zapped up, and it's like I wanted everybody to live a long time, and I didn't, but like is this what, like, who knows? There could be a major people, like, do you look at died suddenly on X and all the young people still dying and, just like very successful people just constantly dying?
It doesn't have to be from the vaccine because a lot of people took the vaccine and still are alive. I think the biggest psyop is indeed the mind virus. The thing is, like, if it's the mind virus, whether you take the vaccine or not, it doesn't matter. The fact that people have changed their behavior in such a drastic manner, that's what's really important. Imagine how many people have now depression or lost their family members or friends because of this dumbass thing, I mean, I'm not saying that vaccine was a good thing or a bad thing. In general, I do not want to talk about it on Clubhouse, honestly. But how about the other vaccines? Did you other vaccines?
What's going on with Danny? Are we keeping her put down below?
Yeah, don't talk over you. I do not put down.
We really love Danny's presence, I really love Danny's presence. But sometimes when she makes too many Dannyisms, it can be upsetting for some people in the room that don't appreciate Dannyisms as much as I do.
Wait, I don't know, did you take the other vaccines as a child? Like, did your mom put you through that or not?
I'm sure I did. I mean, I don't have any medical records, like actual paperwork showing what has been put in my body. I mean, I know in the military I went through
What's up
shit.
with that? You go to the doctor. I get like an AI transcript as everything was said. They gave us this experimental vaccine, and we got like a post-it note. You know what I mean? Like, that's a little sketchy on its own, right?
When I was talking to Matt, for example, he was like, all the vaccines are so safe for you to take. Why won't you take it? Like,
well, I mean, that's a lie because we didn't do the scientific experimental, basis for that, right? Like, that's just a lie. There wasn't enough. It was impossible for us to do long-term studies on it because we pushed it out so fast.
Listen to this. Remember how you had to have the Vax card to get into restaurants, bars, venues, anything? And so there was no back-end database, with your identity. Do you think they did that because if that was the case, it would have been basically a national ID network and we would have known who took it and who didn't? And many of the elites did not take it. Like, I think Bill Gates is on record saying his children did not take it. So, when the person's telling everybody to get it, and if you're anti-vax, you're anti-science, and you're anti-intelligence, and anyways, the whole point is, like, yeah, I mean, it is the biggest, like, mind virus maybe ever, and that has had significant repercussions. Anyways, I'm just like, because, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is very interesting, all of this.
Because, like, the spread of cancer, cancer has always been with the human population. But I even saw a meme saying that with the advent of the polio vaccine, that was when cancer took off in society. So, like, is there a connection between vaccines and cancer?
Why did they take a weed killer and inject it into us like glyphosate?
Glyphosate?
Roundup?
Thank you.
Are you talking about Roundup?
Give me a pocket to do.
Yeah, my grandpa got leukemia from that.
Oh, you need to send it down.
So 25, 26 more days. Like, as far as I know, I'm still technically an employee. But
You for me if you want. Apply. Send me your CV. I need somebody to count my coupons.
well, what I'm saying is, like, I think I'm gonna try to go back to work, like, after Trump is in office, but not before, because if he gets assassinated,
I have an extra room for you. You can call that an office.
will JD Vance become the president if Trump gets assassinated? He will, right?
JD Vance?
Yeah, they won't.
Ooh, maybe that's gonna be your prime minister. Ooh. That's gonna be funny. Burn down America.
Did you see?
By the way, I've always thought that was like a really easy political way, like a really easy political plot to get someone who the people didn't really want into the presidency, right? It's just like attach them to the VP ticket and then kill the president. Because like no one really looks into the vice president, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, well, look at Waltz. I mean, God, everybody would have collectively puked if that piece of shit became the president, and everybody did collectively puke when he almost became the vice president. And now Kamala is lighting menorahs. Look at her Instagram. She lit a menorah today with her husband, but it's like a ritual. It's like a light ritual where they form one candle into two candles, and it's like they all look like shit. They all look, like they're Satanist witch vaxxed up.
Are you a Satanist too?
what is the deal with being
Are you a Mason? Edmund.
Yeah.
Are you Illuminati?
I'm an Illuminati hottie, but I'm not a Freemasonic body.
That's right.
Are you depressed?
Listen, they buried me in a coffin. They jerked me off. Everybody got a chance to jerk me off. Then they buried me in the coffin. Then they resurrected me 3 days later. They made me promise not to tell the secrets, and if I did, they'd slit my throat.
Well, Ryan, this video makes me annoyed.
Why?
I don't know, but it's cool. Well done, Ents. But did you see the Eula person? That Eulogia?
Eulogy? You like a eulogy?
Give me a pot at the Gucci store.
I'm just a cat on a bike on a scooter.
This conversation never happened.
Andy Warhol was not gay.
He was so gay that he is a genius. Andy Warhol. I used to love how he talked like in that Brantif commercial with who was it? Anyway, I like people like Andy Warhol and like that Parks and Recs Aubrey Plaza. I think she's the funny. Andrew Dittman. I like my coffee how I like my men. Yeah.
With fluoridated water.
Vaccinated. Ew.
Gross. I was wondering why my coffee just doesn't hit.
Wait, Edmund, if you have children, would you vaccinate them with all the vaccination without COVID, obviously, but with other vaccinations or not?
No, I would make it into a movie, and I would call it the first non-vax birth, and I'd film my children living on my farm, totally healthy, natural, and we would refuse. I would even do a home birth. I would get a midwife and have the children.
Oh, hello, Diogenes.
Yeah, delivered. Yeah.
He dies of polio at 9.
Diogenes 2.0.
Yeah.
We've now already fucked up.
Yeah, there's a part of me that I mean, that's the thing is I think that people do a lot of these things for convenience sake because it's just so difficult to resist.
Oh, that's kind of base that you want to do home birth, Edmund.
Yeah, what's the difference? I mean, people have been having.
I was born at home.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Is there one that got away or something? You're getting old.
Listen, if it's just my destiny to be an anti-vax crusader, and never work again, I'm okay with that. As long as I can continue getting cheese pizzas.
When you have children, you have different responsibilities. So I wonder what you would do.
It scares me to think that I'd have to spend 18 years raising, a boy or a girl or multiple kids on a very limited income.
You will love it.
Well, I took
every single moment.
It goes very fast, right? I'm just on year 3, so.
How's it going for you?
Well, I hope it's. Yeah. Maybe, Edmund, you'll be on Clubhouse just like Danny.
Yeah, maybe I would make my kids read all my books, and that would be all the education they need.
Do you write books?
No, but I've got 1,000
No,
books
he
in my
fails.
house.
His kids are gonna channel Bashar.
I don't sell books. I mostly buy books.
I think your kids will be artistic.
My
I buy a
kids.
lot of Bibles.
Talking about
Be
kids.
their children.
You can't have kids by talking about them. You have to actually do something about it, which means like penetration, insemination.
You probably have kids already. You just don't know about them.
I wish. I hope somebody like messages me on Instagram in a couple of years and like, hey, FYI, I'm your son. I'll be like, oh, great.
Aww.
Can you add me as a friend?
That's so cool.
Are you successful?
If I was a man, I would have.
If not,
Imagine you go to a concert and your son is there. You're old. Your son is like the drummer. Oh my god, that would be
Imagine
so
if
cool.
my kid's like, Dad, can I borrow $1,000? Like, I need this. It's very important. I'm like, can you just follow me on all my accounts first, please? And then the kid won't. My own kid won't even follow me on Instagram. I'll be like, you ungrateful little bat. I never should have given you that money. Unfollow me just on the one account.
well, I'm not surprised that like people might have kids because like it's so hard to just support yourself, right?
Exactly.
Like we're not buying houses for like 20K.
Okay, stop ruining the fantasy. We
Not
just
buying
have
houses
fantasy.
for 20K that are worth like 400K or a million or 1.5 million. You know?
Yeah, no, we don't have that money. Only you do.
I know I can buy a house, but it took a lot of. It was hard.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
Some people are born into money, which is nice. But for most people,
I wish I was.
yeah, you have to actually live your life perfectly to try to make it.
Who's playing music?
Ryan, he's bringing in good cheer.
That, like,
I've been playing the background music the entire time the room has been open.
I just hear now.
The main reason I wish that I was born into money is like not just to have the money, but to know about like financial stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. If you don't have money, you actually don't know how complicated it is in terms of like securitizing or monetizing your money or trying to generate yield.
It's incredibly difficult to understand, and like, yeah, takes a lot.
You know what they really should do is, because I'm going through legal problems now, I realize that lawyers are technically like they're the real masters of the universe because they can even ruin a doctor's life. Like imagine getting a malpractice lawsuit and losing and getting a $50 million judgment against you, and now you have to file bankruptcy. So, like lawyers really, the law is what dictates everything. It supersedes and is layered on top of financial services, medical, and business transactions. I mean, law is the place to be. AK, it's a license to steal. And then the thing is like with the vax and everything else, there's no repercussions without the law. And so it's all civil. Maybe you can get it to become criminal, but it takes lawyers to bring justice into the world, which is a terrible thing. It's kind of annoying. Like, who were the lawyers that prosecuted the murderers of our blessed Lord and Savior and King? Like, what's the story with those lawyers?
Huh?
What's the legal framework around the prosecution and crucifixion of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, as we only have 6 more hours left of this blessed holy day?
So Jesus's birthday is 9/11.
Jesus. No, that's the birth of ISIS. Oh, I see. I see what you did there, Miss Osiris. Danny and Jesus sitting in a tree. KISSING. What's wrong? What's wrong, Abby? Is the diabetes weighing on you?
Who's the one that I pray to? Is it
Malek.
your mother? Your mother's vessel, that's what you pray. Who made me?
You weren't made, honey. The earth created you. Sisters! Oh, my friend told me that he really liked my video. We were having a conversation, and I told you all that I was now Korean. And do you want to hear the recording? It was actually very funny.
Yeah.
It's on Snapchat, and it went viral.
What does it mean to go viral?
A couple thousand views.
I don't think that's going viral.
Well, we all can't be a hot chick.
I mean, that's a pretty good, what is that called?
Korean now, you guys. I've decided to convert to becoming Korean.
I just looked at the Korean guy.
Yeah, my new Snapchat filter makes me Korean. I'm an old Korean guy. I'm a 55-year-old Korean man now. It's amazing. I'm 75, but I still look 42 because when you're bald, you're bald.
You're very insecure about it.
No, I'm confident in my baldness.
No, but you always talk about it.
I know, because it's called self-deprecation, fatty. Gotta come up with something. I'm not fat
Is
like
that
you,
me?
so I'm bald.
Yeah.
That's definitely you, Abby. You can't tell that's you. I can tell that was you.
Tommy, what do you think? I'm like some 25-year-old Eastern European fitness model? I'm a 42-year-old dad bod.
Look at Reba. Oh wow, Reba.
What's up with Reba? What the fuck? What happened there, Reba? What happened, Reba? I didn't see it. Oh, sweet. Look at those titties. That's a good life right there. I miss those days. I haven't been touched in months. Ryan, would it be, I've seen men at the beach with breast implants, and I'm just like, that is the weirdest looking thing I've ever seen. Do you get turned on when you see a set of titties on a man?
Excuse me?
Yeah, at the beach.
Are those implants?
Yeah, at the breast implants on a man.
The regular, like women's breast implants, or like pectoral implants?
Definitely female breast implants, not pectoral
That's
implants.
disgusting. No.
I've seen it. It's the funniest thing in the world, seeing a guy with like real female breast implants. It's hilarious.
I'm gonna have calf implants.
Really? Do you not have calves developed? Like, you're too lazy? We used to call this guy in the army that I knew, we used to call him Mr. Chicken Man because he had like no calves at all, so we called him Chicken Man.
Sounds like my grandfather.
Like, I don't have great calves. I don't work on my calves, but I like actually have calves. Some people like have no muscular development at all in their calves. Oh, it's been such a blessed Christmas. I'd like to read from the book of Matthew and Luke, Mark and John.
Okay, let's do it.
Do you know which one is like the whole Christmas story? What is it? It's Luke, right?
Can we talk about the fourth wise man?
Yeah, Luke. Why don't you read from the book of Luke? It's like a great thing to do on Christmas.
Let's read some Bible, guys. I love reading the Bible. Should we get into some deep stuff, or what?
No, just read the book of Luke, and let's find out if Ryan and Abby instantaneously combust.
I will grab the Bible from when for when I was going through it. Okay,
You do?
I will grab it and I will just open it to any page like the Dada art movement, and we could read it.
No, thank you.
I guess it's true what they say: love the sinner, not the sin.
Wait, no, I think it's the other way around.
Yeah, love the sinner, not the sin. That's why Jesus Christ, aka Joe Biden, pardoned 37 heinous murderers.
Reba, come to the stage. Let's talk about the Bible.
Let's.
So, you want to read Luke?
Bebidas tus leches, Reba. Arriva verte. Yeah, read from the book of Luke.
Inasmuch as many have undertaken to compile a narrative of the things which have been accomplished among us, just as they were delivered to us by those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word, it seemed good to me also, having followed all things closely for some time past, to write an orderly account to you, most excellent Theophilus, the God lover, that you may know the truth concerning the things of which you have been informed. In the days of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest named Zechariah, of the division of Abijah, and he had a wife of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord blamelessly. But they had no child, because Elizabeth was barren, and both were advanced in years. Now while he was serving as a priest before God, when his division was on duty, according to the custom of the priesthood, it fell on him to lot to enter the temple of the Lord and to burn incense. And the whole multitude of the people were praying outside at the hour of incense. And there appeared to him an angel of the Lord standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And Zechariah was troubled when he saw him, and fear fell upon him. But the angel said to him, "Be not afraid, Zechariah, for your prayer is heard, and your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you shall call him John. And you will have joy and gladness, and many will rejoice at his birth. For he will be great before the Lord, and he shall drink no wine nor strong drink, and he will be filled with the Holy Spirit, even from his mother's womb. And he will turn many of the sons of Israel to the Lord their God. And he will go before them in their spirit and power to Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready for the Lord a people prepared." And Zechariah said to the angel, "How shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife is advanced in years." And the angel answered him, "I am Gabriel, who stands in the presence of God, and I was sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news. And behold, you will be silent and unable to speak until the day these things come to pass, because you did not believe my words, which will be fulfilled in their time." And the people were waiting for Zechariah, and they wondered at his delay in the temple. And when he came out, he could not speak to them. And they perceived that he had seen a vision in the temple. And he made signs to them and remained mute. And when his time of service was ended, he went to his home. After these days, his wife Elizabeth conceived. For 5 months she hid herself, saying, "Thus the Lord has done to me in the days when he looked on me, to take away my reproach among men." In the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God to a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin betrothed to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. And he came to her and said, "Hail, full of grace, the Lord is with you." But she was greatly troubled at the saying, and considered in her mind what sort of greeting this might be. And the angel said to her, "Be not afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God. And behold, you will conceive in your womb and bear a son, and you shall call his name Jesus. He will be great. He will be called the Son of the Most High, and the Lord God will give him the throne of his father David. And he will reign over the house of Jacob forever and ever, and his kingdom will have no end." And Mary said to the angel, "How can this be, since I have no husband?" And the angel said to her, "The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. Therefore the child will be born, and will be called Holy, the Son of God. And behold, your kinswoman Elizabeth, in her old age, has also conceived a son, and this is the 6th month with her who is called barren. For with God nothing will be impossible." And Mary said, "Behold, I am the handmaid of the Lord. Let it be according to your word." And the angel departed from her. In those days, Mary arose and went with haste into the hill country to the city of Judah. And she entered the house of Zechariah and greeted Elizabeth. And when Elizabeth heard the greeting of Mary, the child leaped in her womb, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit. And she exclaimed with a loud cry, "Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. And why is this granted to me, that the mother of my Lord should come to me? For behold, when the voice of your greeting came to my ears, the child in my womb leaped for joy. And blessed is she who believed that there would be a fulfillment of what was spoken to her from the Lord." And Mary said, "My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior. For he has regarded the low estate of his handmaiden. For behold, henceforth all generations will call me blessed. For he who is mighty has done great things for me, and holy is his name. And his mercy is on those who fear him from generation to generation. He has shown strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the imagination of their hearts. He has put down the mighty from their thrones and exalted those of low degree. He has filled the hungry with good things. The rich he has sent away empty. He has helped his servant Israel in remembrance of his mercy, as he spoke to our fathers, to Abraham, and to his posterity forever." And Mary remained with her for about 3 months and then returned home. That's the basis of it. You want to go into the wise men stuff and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it true that an N-word showed up to the birth?
The birth of Jesus. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be enrolled. This was the first enrollment when Quintinius was governor of Syria. And all went to be enrolled, each to his own city. And Joseph went up from Galilee, from the city of Nazareth to Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be enrolled with Mary, his betrothed, who was with child. And while they were there, the time came for her to be delivered. As she gave birth to her first son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. And in that region there were shepherds out in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And an angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were filled with fear. And the angel said to them, "Be not afraid, for behold, I bring you good news of a great joy, which will come to all the people. For to you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord. And this will be a sign for you. You will find a baby wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with an angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace among men with whom he is pleased." When the angels went away from one another into the heavens, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go over to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has made known to us." And they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in a manger. And when they saw it, they made known this saying which had been told them concerning this child. And all wondered at what the shepherds told them. But Mary kept all these things, pondering them in her heart. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had seen and heard, as had been told them. At the end of 8 days, when he was circumcised, he was called Jesus, the name given by an angel before he was conceived in the womb. Let me skip some stuff here.
My higher self is not a...
Where are we getting to the 3 wise men?
After they arrived in Bethlehem.
Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 to 12. Oh, we gotta go back to Matthew. Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and we have come to worship him. When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And assembling all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. They told him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for it is written by the prophet, And you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who will govern my people Israel. Then Herod summoned the wise men serially and ascertained from them what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, Go and search diligently for the child. And when you have found him, bring me word, that I too may come and worship him. When they had heard the king and went their way, and behold, the star which they had seen in the east went before them, till it came to rest over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother. They fell down and worshipped him. Then, opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to their own country by another way. Yeah. And then eventually escaped to Egypt.
Is it true that Mary, the Lady Mary, the mother of the Savior of mankind, took Jesus to McDonald's on his first birthday? Because my mom took me to McDonald's and got me a Happy Meal.
Oh, mine too.
Is it true that Mary took Jesus to the hospital to get his vaccines? Yeah, does Luke talk about the vaccine regimen for a newborn baby in Bethlehem?
Well, why is Reba still here?
Because Reba is live streaming it to YouTube to dox the Zionists.
Wait, who is that? Is that Em, or is that someone with her profile? Like, who is that, and why is that the picture? Like, what? Who is that? What's the psyop now? What the fuck?
Wait, I'm still confused. You click on the profile and it changes?
You have to screenshot the room and zoom in. But it's several titties.
Those are some pretty tiny pixelated titties if you got to zoom in on a tiny little PTR like that.
But how does that work? Is that a clubhouse feature?
Yeah, it detects nudity and it blurs it. It just negates the
But
PTR.
it allows it in the profile, but not in the when you pick.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing.
Weird, right? I don't know. I mean, if it was even more X-rated, I doubt it. He would even show, render an image, right?
I don't know.
Maybe nipples, maybe breasts are allowed.
Well, it's like you can have it in your as a Like a
Yeah, you can't touch it. You can just smell it.
yeah. I'm wondering if I can. This is interesting. I wonder if I can.
Has anyone here done yoga yet today and stretched
You know
your
what I
hamstrings?
I think that Reba heard about Luke being into cash apping girls, so Reba came
Whoa.
in hot.
Danny's projecting to Luke a Cash App request indirectly.
I'm not.
Well, you know what? You missed the boat, bitch.
Yeah, if I wanted to digitally motorboat you, if I wanted to digitally motorboat you, how much would it cost for me to get a picture of your titties?
Dimitri! How much would it cost for someone to get a picture of my titties?
Dimitri, I'm offering $10 or $5 a nipple.
I didn't think he would be like, I don't know. I thought he would have at least some
Number like Demi
no,
Moore.
don't do it.
He doesn't have a Demi Moore number for adultery.
What does that mean?
That means like every good pimp has to know how much his hoe's worth on the internet.
How much is your hoe worth on the internet?
What's your OnlyFans price for titties?
Are you just a John, Dimitri?
You always gotta know, Danny, the first advice my mom ever gave me about getting married was you gotta know who the pimp is and who's the hoe.
Okay, so who wants his pictures? Come on.
Danny's selling her husband's dick pics on Clownhouse. Can you PTR?
You just like sprayed me with the water for the cat.
Can
like,
you PTR? Ryan just cash at me $10 to sell you pictures of Dimitri's micro penis.
I did what?
You sent me $10 via Cash App so I could zelly Danny $10 so you could see the picture of Dimitri's micro penis.
I don't want to see anybody's micro penis.
Oh my gosh,
False negative. Danny's getting cuddle attacked. Ooh, it's a Christmas cuddle attack.
waterboarding me.
Waterboard her, Dimitri. She's guilty. She's guilty, Dimitri. She's on Clubhouse all the time. Waterboard her. Reclaim your marriage vows.
I can't believe you sprayed me right in the freaking face with the cat sprayer.
Oh no, Reba has updated her PTR. It's even more graphic. How is that even possible? Wait, is that a circumference measurement? Shouldn't you be taking a latitudinal measurement?
Is that your ex's penis?
Who is Reba? Reba is the same non-talking, non-playable character that has been coming into these rooms for a while now, I'm almost sure. Based on the profile, non-offensive, like I think that they just like updated their profile recently, but Ultra Derecha, Jeff's house. This is like the non-speaker person. And kudos Reba for not saying anything.
But look at the profile. Like, look at the info. Isn't that like M's profile? Like, isn't that what hers says or no?
Yeah, it's the person that has something against everybody here on this app who, like, just likes to fuck around.
But that's not her. That's not. Like, who is
I don't know, but Reba, if I had a penis that big, like, wow, I'd be very popular with the ladies.
You don't?
I mean, based on that measurement, I mean, that's a pretty girthy, chunky dick. That's like a solid, 12 inches of cock meat. Ryan, you've sucked a lot of dicks. How would you estimate this dick in your mouth, like in terms of volume per square inch? Manageable, unmanageable, too much, not enough? Like, what are you thinking of? No penis analysis available. Okay, moving on. Abby, since you're a celibate, what do you think about this penis? There should be a show called Let's Judge Your Penis. That's a great idea, actually. It's like the movie History of the World Part 2 when the Roman, queen is bringing in, doing penis evaluations.
Yeah.
So, Luke, are you going to read any more about the birth of our blessed Lord and Savior, Jesus H. Christ, Lord and King? Amen?
Aren't you going to Downtown?
No. Maybe later.
Aren't you going to Downtown? You just told my son to stop. I think you just said, no. Oh my God, what's wrong with you, bitch? Hi. Stop laughing like that. Okay. Well, then what's for Chinese food without me? Oh, good.
Okay, I muted all the speakers. Yes, Danny, please, no more laughing like that. You're going to give me a migraine. Thank you very little.
Okay. Reba, you're making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, Reba, I'm going to report you for sexual harassment. I don't feel comfortable speaking to you anymore.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
What is that in his PR? Is that his finger?
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know, would you, Abby? You wouldn't know, would you?
She doesn't. I've seen only one like that.
Abby, you've never touched it. You've never tasted it. You've never seen it. It's basically, it's an enchilada burrito. It's the new Taco Bell burrito.
What is that? It looks like a fingernail. It's like 10 or 11. I don't see it anymore. It says 18 plus. I know they changed it again.
Okay, I'm gonna have to make a move.
I mean, who are you? Talk or will you get removed?
Talk or you will be removed.
Yeah, these are one of those profiles that don't talk. Okay, get the fuck out.
Yeah, that's the leave man.
I'm already getting accused for.
See, Reba, yeah, Reba, total bitch. She hates you.
I think I know who that is.
What's the last PTR? 2 guys in a bed? The fuck?
Hold on. Edmund, did you talk to your stalker?
Yeah, actually, I did. We talked on the phone. Yeah.
Are you okay now with him?
Was that who Reba was?
I think we both know who it is.
Mm-hmm. Is he gay?
And you've said it before.
Is he gay?
It's unfortunate because this guy is actually, I don't know.
I felt bad because actually that's the guy.
I think you know who it is.
Well,
you know who it is. I've heard you saying it.
I think I do know who it is, but it's not like I really know them.
Okay, what's the letter starting with?
Of the person's first name?
Yeah.
God, what the fuck was his name?
K.
I'll think about it.
K. I think she said K.
No, I don't think so.
You know who I mean?
No. Anyways, the person said that I think
yes, you do. You said it. Like you were.
I don't understand. Why are you playing games? Like just fucking say it.
I'm not. Hold on. I'm not because I was surprised that you were the other person on Clubhouse that knew who it was.
Yeah, but I don't understand. Like, it's somebody. I think it's somebody with like a mental health problem or something.
Yes, 100%. Because he has like a billion accounts on here, and like people think it's you, and then that's why they think you're creepy. But I said no. Every time you are on, you 9 out of 10 times you talk. So
Yeah. Once you talk on your account, you burn your account. Like once it gets out that I have a new burner, it's like it spreads like wildfire. I get blocked. So the only, if you create a new account, you got to like not fucking talk for like a couple weeks so you can record as much as possible.
But this guy has like a billion accounts. He changes his names. He's listening to everyone, and then he creates shit in the chat.
Yeah, it's very weird. Kyle, is it?
The accounts that are not talking.
Is it Kyle? Is that the name? Chris?
Yes.
Oh no, that's not Chris.
I love Chris.
It's not Chris. Chris
Me
like
too.
Chris's burners account is called like Zenaminibi or something like that.
No, he has multiple. Like this one, I follow this one, Reba.
Oh, you think that's Chris? It could be.
Yeah, and Rick RTB 421 is also him.
There's somebody else though it's more than just Chris, but Chris is not the person who I think hates people. I think he just accepts that he like.
Oh no, my bad. That's not Chris. That's Zemini.
Yeah, Chris records and puts things on YouTube.
He does?
Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel and he's like live streams all the rooms that I get kicked out of.
Oh, that's cool. You know that I got the blame for that?
Think about that.
No, you know that I got blamed for that by Issa? That's me.
Dude, Issa's in charge of the Bitcoin room now. She's big time.
I know.
So the lady at the Japanese restaurant,
she wants to go down.
She said that Dimitri should have another baby because my son is so smart because he's so good at math.
That's a good idea. Maybe I should order Chinese food.
Who asked that opinion? I don't think I was.
Abby, is this your first time listening to Danny where she does, non-tangential, non-sequential communication and just Dannyisms? Hello?
Yeah, I'm just happy that the lady was so happy.
That's good because that fills the void.
I'm happy because
That fills the void in your life.
Lad, your picture is reminding me of when I was in a 2-person go-kart at camp and the girl was driving and she made the car do that and we were upside down and it was so scary.
Yeah, I almost died. But it was scary. I almost lost my fucking life. So what's the point?
There's no point. There's no point when it comes to Danny.
You look somebody we know.
One by one.
Look so happy.
Intelligent. One by one. Let's go.
You look happy.
Okay, I'm muting everybody.
Are you Russian? Because you look happy. I don't know.
No, I'm happy because I won my life at this point. But I'm Russian.
Sorry to hear that.
Bro, stop muting.
Sorry to hear that. Listen, do you think you could tell Vladimir Putin to send some KGB agents to take care of some people that are causing me some problems?
No, I cannot. Are you fucking dumb or what?
What do you mean? Can't you tell Vladimir that my grandfather...
Sexy. I think he's a sexy old man. Putin is so sexy.
Ooh, sexy Putin.
That's your thing.
Sexy Putin.
You ever see him on the horse, riding the horse?
Horse.
Ooh, Beyonce's at a Diddy White party.
Anyway, anybody do the Ramazan thing?
What the fuck is the halftime show?
It's like halftime, but it's show.
I know, but it's not the Super Bowl yet. It's Christmas.
Yeah, for me, not for you, I guess.
Do you speak any other languages than Russian?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, other than English, what else?
I speak Greek.
You speak Greek?
Yeah, too.
That's amazing. Ryan speaks Greek too.
Do you?
Talinita.
No, Dimitri.
Good night, but why would you say that?
Malacca! 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 Malacca!
Oh, that's what my janitor was saying to me all those years. He wasn't he was saying my locker.
No, you were saying Malacca. Damn, I was like, damn. Oh my God. Okay, guys, can we focus on one thing?
Sorry, we're all super vaccinated in this country.
Yeah.
Like,
That's why I'm chill.
it's not really your fault, it's government's fault, but because
Yeah, I got viral status from the AstraZeneca. I'm so vaccinated, that's why I'm so pale.
He's American.
I'm like a ghost.
Oh, rampant narcissism.
What's your real name, though?
It actually rains vaccines.
Let the smart people speak.
My government name? Do you want my government name or my Hebrew name? Do you want my government name or my Hebrew name? Hello?
Are you? Mom.
Hello?
Lad is lad.
Hello?
Slavic or Ukrainian?
Hello?
Mom.
Hirshoa.
Greek?
Hello?
Mom. Why
Hello?
do Russians celebrate Christmas on the 6th of January?
Hello?
Why did you kick Em out of the room?
Hello?
Mom. Why did you kick Em out of the room?
Hello? Mom? Sisters?
Okay, black people, quiet for 3 seconds.
Did you just call us the N-word?
Sister.
Sister, he just called us the N-word. An interloper, a Russian.
Can the Jews talk yet? Are the Jews allowed to talk in here? I want to know.
This room's becoming very anti-Semitic.
Mom, Abe is anti-Semitic.
Is he?
Zelensky is a Nazi.
He left. He couldn't take the retardation. You did it, guys. Another one. Congrats.
Is Kermit the Frog a Nazi?
Kermit? He's not a Nazi. Do you know what the smartest thing to ever come out of wait a minute. What's long green and smells like bacon?
Mom, will you come out for my sister?
Mom!
Dimitri has a micro penis.
Mom!
It's not a micro penis. It just doesn't look like that picture that Rima had. That was like, how do I grow?
Mom! Mom! Can you get sister a second plate because she's thinner than me? Mom! Mom!
Abby out of the well because she's smarter than me.
Mom, why did you kick me out of the will, Mom?
Mom, why do you put sister in the movie and not me?
Mom, is this girl really getting a PhD in neuroscience or is that just a lie? I don't believe it, Mom. No one getting a PhD should be allowed to be this stupid, Mom. This is impossible, Mom. I bet you her I bet you her theatrical I'm exhausting myself.
Why do you put a pacifier in sister?
Mom, her senior thesis is about Clown House.
Make me go to the 5D. Why you make me go to 5D so I can be mined for losing Bitcoin? Mom, why do you put a pacifier in sister's ass?
Ew.
Why you suck it after?
Are you projecting? Do you want? Do you want a pacifier in your ass? Damn, Danny's losing it. Danny, you've been drinking too much Christmas whiskey. I'm looking looking at other rooms. There's like this app is finished.
No, I'm crying.
What do you
right
think
now.
about what do you think about the new interface on here? Didn't they like fucking make it even worse by like expanding it? It's so annoying.
Yeah, all the people that like don't follow me for a reason, they can't keep me out of their rooms now.
Okay, so should I go? Because if I go downtown, I'm gonna go have another drink, and there's bars open on Christmas.
I feel like your probability of getting laid on Christmas is pretty high. Like,
Yeah, I know. I feel like if you're alone on Christmas, like it's the ultimate night to unite underneath that warm Christmas tree.
yeah, you should have a white Christmas.
Do you know Chicago used to be called the White City? That was the good old days.
Well, that has changed.
Oh yeah.
Why do you have Zach's picture though? Like,
Because I think he
yeah,
thinks
yeah,
Zach's so
yeah,
cute. Zach's such a cute little Jew. Ooh.
you called him a daddy, but like, where's Ishmael been?
He's at home with his family. I bet you he's all talk. There's no way he moves to Israel.
I don't know. Would you? You said you were gonna move there because you like have all these problems.
Yeah, but like if I move there, I can't really manage the problems. It like makes it even more financially difficult. Like here I can like manage the financial problems and get out of bankruptcy in 3 to 5 years, but you know, if I just go over there, it's like it's better that I take care of this problem now, so like by the time I'm 45 or 47, I can be out of bankruptcy. And that, you know, then I can like
I
save.
think that's a good choice.
Yeah,
you know,
save
that's a
for
good choice.
yeah, save 20 years, and then like if I get married and have a kid, like I could actually like help the kid out with college and some bills. But I'm stuck being a working man the rest of my life unless I can like figure a way out, you know, start a business. This is why I'm like recording Clubhouse, because I'm like, but it's not working. Nobody cares what you guys have to say, sister. We only have 2 people watching us on live stream. Those are rookie numbers. We're doing 80 hours a week of Free Palestine, and we can't even catch one Zionist.
I'm sure that's one of them is Nora. Nora doesn't like Amir's house. Yeah, because it's a competition for her. No. Because he's like Sean King.
Sean King, he disappeared, didn't he? Like he got deplatformed, I think.
I think he did, but then he's back. Now he's Muslim.
So I created this Quran account because I wanted to like read the Quran and, and see like what it's actually like, and it's a pretty hardcore book. Have you ever read it?
Yeah.
It's like kind of shocking, actually. It's like if
I was
that's
about to say it's really hardcore.
yeah, because it's just like it's like extreme. Like it's an all or nothing book all the time, and but I can see like why people use it for like superiority purposes.
I mean, can we really blame Nora for getting crazy or being crazy because of that's just the book what she grew up with?
It's more than that. Like the Free Palestine, Palestinian Media Watch, and all those videos. Like, I don't know. Like, it's hard to say. Like those videos are like, because I'm sure there's a lot of good things that you could utilize in the Quran for like positive neurolinguistic programming, but there's just so much negative in there that you can use it to create real propaganda, real hate propaganda.
Oh yeah, what is the positive side about the Quran?
What?
And then the positive sides about the Quran.
There's verses I could read to you that you would, if I didn't tell you where they were from the Quran, you'd be like, yeah, that's a very positive, uplifting, statement. But once,
I mean, not every single thing in the Quran is bad, but It's honestly not the religion I'll go for. It's not the first pick.
Yeah, I would pick like housing, food, and clothing. Those would be my first three primary religions. If I had to recreate something, it would be like the worship of the house, the worship of dinner, the worship of clothing.
Islam is like a remake of Christianity, so yeah.
But was it done by sand N-words?
It was done by Muhammad. That's the prophet, and he was a man from, I think he came from the Quraysh or something. He's a Middle Eastern. He was light skinned. He was very white. His skin was white. So yeah.
I know, but was he really white? Did he wear Dockers?
Yeah, he did have very fair skin, and he was very white. He was pale. Yeah.
So he looked like an Englishman?
He didn't look English. I mean, no, because the way he dressed, the way he spoke, but his skin and some of his features, they're mostly white, honestly. He was very white.
Did you ever see a picture of him?
No, I'm just going based on hadith descriptions of Muhammad.
Yeah, but don't you think that's just a metaphor for saying,
and how
like...
he treated black people. He didn't marry, if your skin was like a certain extent of dark, he didn't want to marry you, and he used them as slaves. So he was also extremely racist too.
Okay, I'm going to pick a random verse from the Quran and I'm going to read it to you, okay? We are on page 572, Surah 72, Al-Jinn. Surat Al-Jinn, the Jinn, revealed at Mecca. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, say, it has been revealed to me that a company of the Jinn listened to the Quran and said, we have heard a wonderful Quran, which guides to the right way. So we believe in it, and we shall never ascribe to our Lord any partner. And exalted is the majesty of our Lord. He has not taken either wife or a son. The foolish among us spoke falsehoods concerning God, and we thought that mankind and jinn would never utter a lie concerning God, and that persons from among mankind used to seek refuge with persons among the jinn, but they increased them in folly. And they thought, even as you also thought, that God would not send a messenger, and we peered into the sky, and we found it filled with stern guards and flaming stars. And we used to sit on places therein to listen, but he who listens now finds a flame lying in wait for him. And we do not know whether evil is intended for those in the earth, or whether their Lord intends for them guidance. And among us there are righteous, among us are others far from that. We follow different ways. And we know that we cannot escape from God in the earth, nor can we escape by flight. And when we heard the guidance, we believed in it. So whoever believes in his Lord, he should neither fear loss or injustice. Anyways, I don't know, does that sound very intelligent to you? Or does that sound almost like a Bedouin wrote that in the desert drinking, moonshine?
What the hell? I really didn't understand, because I know Jinn is an evil entity. I didn't really understand why maybe I'm just saying nonsense because of my bias, but I think it was good, but I don't think it's anything special.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a super powerful thing that I just wrote or read in terms of like psychology, but like, I don't know. I mean, it's just another book.
That wrote the Quran, they were not the most educated. They were Muhammad's scribes. So Muhammad was an illiterate. He didn't know how to read or write. So whenever he recruited people, those are the first ever Muslims. Those are the Muslims that actually wrote the Quran. Those are the writers of the Quran. They are not studied like the Jews, for example, that had an education system going on, that had, a system going on for them for education to be in place to create the Torah or something like that. They were not in a situation like that. They were honestly not the smartest. That's why I say I can't take Islam seriously. No offense, I'm so sorry, but if you really just go read the history of Islam, it's really no different than following Charles Mason in the 1960s. Really, it's really no different. I'd rather be an atheist because I'm not missing anything much than to be an Islamist or no, I just can't. Too much.
I don't know. There's a lot in this book. Like it's a pretty lengthy book, and it's kind of interesting though. I gotta say, like it's uh, it's just an interesting book because it's like the book I have. It's in a leather case with a zipper, and it has the Arabic in the upper right hand corner, then the English translation. Listen to this. This is Surah 57. It says, that this is indeed a glorious Quran and a book well kept, which none but the purified touch, a revelation from the Lord of the worlds. How is it that you scorn this message and make your living out of denying it? And when the soul comes up to the throat, and you are at the moment watching, and we are nearer to him than you are, but you do not see. And if you are not subject to us, restore back his soul to him if you are truthful. But if he is of those brought nearest to us, there shall be repose and happiness in a garden of bliss. And if he is a companion of the right hand, peace be upon you from those of the right hand. But if he is of the rejectors who have gone astray, then the lodging shall be of scalding water and roasting in hellfire. Surely this is the certain truth. Therefore praise the name of your Lord, the limitless. This is called Surat al-Hadid, the iron revealed at Mecca. In the name of God, the merciful and compassionate. All that is in the heavens and the earth glorifies God, and he is the Almighty, the All-Wise. To him belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth. He gives life and ordains death, and he has power over all things. He is the first and the last, the manifest and the unseen. He has knowledge of all things. So, like, some of it's good. There's, like, a lot of spirituality in it about God, but like the thing is, what do you read about Muhammad? Like, why isn't there is the story of Muhammad in the book, or is there like a historical story about Muhammad which is not in the book? Like, is the book just all about God revealing God?
The Quran, it's not the only Islamic text. It's not. That is the main Islamic text, but it's not the only Islamic text. You also have the Hadith and the Sharia. Those are other texts that are also used by scholars of Islam, because all the information is not in the Quran. For example, Muhammad's wife. We know that Muhammad was married in the Quran, but we don't know who his wife was. He refers to his wife as she, or he doesn't really talk about her. But there are other sources that talk in details about the things that are being talked about in the Quran, and that's where the Hadith comes in. So through the Hadith is where we know about Muhammad's life, is what we know what his life was like, is what we know what he looked like, is what we know, things that he did on a day-to-day basis before the Quran was written, how it was pretty much formed is the Hadith. And how you know if a Hadith is real, you have to see, because in Islam we have a council. So the council has to agree whether to verify a Hadith or not. Because we are in an age where most of the Islamic things and things that he did in that time were literally horrendous, they have classified most of the documents and held back most of the Hadiths, but you can still access some of the Hadiths online through Sunnah.com. Sunnah.com lists out all of the Hadiths. So you have Sahih Bukhari, and like you have all of the Hadiths like in a long list. And no Muslim is allowed to reject them. So if you're becoming a Christian, you have to prophesy Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. In Islam, you have to accept the Quran and the Hadith, not just one or the other. Now, in 2024, or in the 20th century, there was an uprising in the Islamic movement to be quote-unquote Quran only. Quran is more like a modern feminist movement, kind of a modern Islamic movement of, we don't want to listen to the hadith, even though it's literally the context behind your Quran is literally your history, it's your foundation. Most of them are embarrassed of the things that they read on it, because honestly, if you read it, it kind of traumatized me, I'm not gonna lie. But if you read it, you kind of understand why so many people hate Islam, and I use hate intentionally. They hate Islam just reading the hadith. So yeah, there's some people, some Muslims, that they're too used to their religion, and they just decide to just go with the Quran, and they don't want to listen to the hadith. And the hadith, like in the Quran, it doesn't explain the difference between like the angel concept. It doesn't really explain the jinn concept. It doesn't really explain how Satan manifests. The hadith goes into all of that. The theology, basically. I think it's very interesting for you to read after you're done reading the Quran, just for you to like things are gonna start like making sense and matching. Gonna be like, oh my God, oh wow. And you kind of understand what went on, like the context behind Muhammad's upbringing, about Muhammad's mom, about Muhammad's dad, about his first wife, about his second wife, his third wife, his fourth wife, his fifth wife. You like things that they argued about in their houses. It kind of just explains everything to you. It's very interesting. I think you should read it. But it's extremely horrendous, I'm gonna warn you. They have a lot of stuff in there.
Are you an ex-Muslim?
I was never Muslim. I was raised in an Islamic country. My parents were Muslim and they converted. They kind of left Islam. But I was never Muslim. I went to an Islamic school growing up. I lived in an Islamic country, but I was never Muslim. I was just a minority.
Which country was that?
Well, it was.
Oh, okay.
Or it's in Africa. Yeah. But it's kind of scary. Most Muslims don't even know about it. Like if you talk to most Muslims, they kind of like, oh my God, I didn't know about that. You're lying, because most of them, they don't even know about the hadith. Most of the parents just want to pick the Quran verses, and in their eyes, Islam is looking very beautiful. But when you go into countries that are Sharia lawed, you see a different type of Islam, aka the raw, real version of Islam, and you want to run away, you want to leave. That's always how it is. I mean, a reason to appreciate America is even though you don't receive the raw, real version about the religion, you kind of have your freedom to run away from it. People make their own versions about Islam, make it more watered down in America and the West. But when you go to the countries that are Sharia lawed, most people are Muslims. You're gonna wish death than to be alive. I'm not saying this because I want to be mean, but it's actually literally.
Well, are you all done with your neurolinguistic talk therapy for the day? I hope you've gotten enough dopamine to make it worth your while. Dopamine, 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 dopamine.
My dopamine is this house that my family just bought. We just got a house, guys. In this horrendous economy, I'm happy. I am happy. But I hope after buying this house, the stock market doesn't just like crash. And, oh my God, I'm getting nervous.
Yeah, I bought a house in 08 and in March of 08, and then in September of 08, my house was worth about $200,000 less. So the $150,000 I put in the down payment completely evaporated into thin air, and I was like,
what?
Oh fuck.
That's what I don't want to have, because we're investing. Something about this house is that it's in the suburb. It's like people are always rushing here. There's always limited availability. It's ranch style. I'm thinking ranch can never go wrong, right? Right? Right?
Yeah, we'll just wait until a major nuclear weapon pops off and World War III is declared and 100,000 soldiers to back up Ukraine. Just wait till you see real estate fucking transactions just disappear.
You know what's funny is how fast the whole Ukraine movement died. Like it just came like this and just died off.
What are you talking
You're
about?
saying people don't care about Ukraine? I see a yellow and blue ribbon on a tree every once in a while.
No, we're talking about money and weapons.
No, there's a couple Ukrainians in America that still care about the issue.
No, it's easy to say nobody cares about it, but the fact is, it may not have popular support, but government support. Are you crazy? Like the entire U.S. government is dedicated to funding and sending weapons and trainers and preparing and helping the Ukrainians, do coordinated and sophisticated attacks, let alone providing intelligence information so they can do targeted assassinations. They just killed a Russian general in Moscow with a drone attack. Like that, that's going to be reprisal after reprisal, escalation after escalation. Ukraine is already deploying robot armies of automated machine gun robots. This is not going away, unless
But
Trump
why do we have to fight with one another? I feel like we're all friends at the end of the day.
Money. People, honey, money. Sister,
AI now.
Sister, AI Jesus can't free us from war or the law. Zelensky is going to end up living in Beverly Hills in a $1 billion mansion overlooking the Pacific. What are you going to do?
So I heard that they sold out Ukraine, right, to Russia.
What?
That's what I heard. And they traded for Syria.
Oh, I see. Danny, you're always in the know. I'm so behind the curve. Thank God you're here.
Yeah, I'm just so happy that my family got out of Ukraine when they did, They could still be there.
I know, same here. My family came over in 1900. Thank God they left early. Phew! Avoided that one 124 years ago.
Yeah. Amazing.
But guess what? 124 years ago, they were being murdered then by Russians. So they decided to leave.
Oh my gosh. I'm just crossing my hands that I don't get deported. But I'm a good person. I'm not going to get deported.
Oh, really?
Deported?
Paul, don't you know why we hold these rooms? It's because we're trying to detect people to deport.
No. He's going to deport illegal immigrants, not legal immigrants.
You see, they wish they could deport me, but they can't because I'm so American. So, they're stuck with me. But it's their fault. All they did was teach me about diversity in these schools, and then, I don't know. It's weird.
Oh my God, that's even because I'm going to school right now. I'm on
Pasta del Sol. These guys are home making their pasta every morning and cooking it in their massive imported Italian cornfields. You walk up and this dude is just dumping in fettuccine in this street-side pasta field directly in front of you. It's kind of a little pasta show going on. I have no idea how this tastes, but the portion is massive, and this entire thing is $9.90. A little block of Parma Whole Foods
And
costs
then
like $30.
they were saying blacks are still being redlined in 2024, and blacks are not.
It's
Blacks
fresh made
have the highest
pasta
crime
cooked in
rate
a
because
massive
of
bowl of Parmesan
white
cheese with more
straight
Parmesan cheese
men
on top.
and
It's not the
stuff
best.
like that.
This guy is testing
And
his
then we
fresh
must
butter.
learn
It's a
to
fresh
see
batch,
race.
and he pushes this metal tool into the
And I'm
butter
like,
to pull out an even
but my
scoop
problem
of
is,
the
why
center.
should we learn to
The
see
staple
race?
passes
Why?
inspection.
Why shouldn't
He
we
then pushes
see
it
each
back in to
other?
sell it.
just platonically
This guy
without
is testing this
bringing
fresh
race to everything.
Why we do not have fence.
And why is it even being
As
taught
this
in
guy was
school?
rushing
What
to
is
get
my
on the
business
subway,
with that?
he
What am I
unexpectedly got
doing with
knocked
that
over, and you
information?
won't believe what happens next. The door closes right away as he realizes what's happened, and you can tell he's absolutely furious, ready to take on the guy, but he's just left standing there, raging at the closed door. This guy was rushing to get on the subway. He unexpectedly...
This video went viral when this guy discovered one of the strangest vending...
Only use this device responsibly. Aldi cart hack.
Well, it's been another famous Christmas here on Clubhouse. 5 years now. Been addicted to talking to all of you nonstop. 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 150 hours a week. I don't know anymore. But the point is, we're going to have to course correct because you're not making me any money. So my association and communication with you will naturally have to decrease significantly over time as I seek new financial routes for salvation. It's been a pleasure, but the Jesus Christ business and the apocalypse can't come soon enough because I heard the end of the world's going to be great for business.
What happened?
Nothing. I just had a baby and I'm injecting it with a hepatitis B vaccine to keep it safe.
Oh, perfect.
Where's the herpes vaccine? I've been waiting.
That one causes neurodegenerative disease. We're still ironing out.
one. So, but then, what did the chicken pox do? I mean, it's the same thing. Herpes.
Not really.
No, I know. I'm not a doctor. I just play one on.
Okay, everybody, roll up your sleeves. I've got a new vaccine to administer. It's a combination between the herpes simplex virus, PrEP, AIDS preservation, as well as a special new cocktail for an as yet announced pandemic.
Hello? Hello?
Do you think that the vaccine...
Avian flu?
Do you think that the big
Hello?
pharma could get people to inject without knowing the actual virus that's going to come out? Like it's a preparatory vaccine, for outbreaks as of yet, not announced. It's like the newest thing. People are getting ahead of the curve experimentally. Cancer and death could as a result, but it doesn't matter because we're all going to die anyways, right? Like one grain
We're
of
all
sand.
gonna die, but we're all gonna live too when we die. I think we're all gonna live when we die, and when we die, we're not gonna die because we never lived in the first place. Because we never die when we never live.
That's right. That's what Dr. Fauci put at the bottom in the subnote of one of his research papers that he submitted to Congress. You're so smart, Danny. How did you know that? Jeez. Your kids are so lucky. Your kids are so lucky.
You're a vaccinated child. You're vaccinated.
It's the end of the world and everybody got vaxxed just in time to watch it all end.
You know that we're gonna go through the gates of heaven because we got vaccinated by Bill Gates. Yeah. Are you upset we vaccinated you?
Toronto, are you this close?
Oh shit. Brian, who's that guy in your picture? Is that the actual killer? No, it's Zach Rita. He's the killer though.
Is that the actual? Maybe it is. Is that where he's been? He's been really, really big.
Yeah, that's fine. It's pretty sus. He'll kill your pussy.
Ooh.
Oh.
Don't you have to have a penis